Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. Today's guest is Dylan Farr. Dylan is a functional health practitioner who specializes in nutrition. He helps people rectify metabolic syndrome and lose weight. By training people to develop the proper techniques of diet, he has helped athletes across the WSL, MLB, Olympics, Team USA, Team Costa Rica, Team Colombia, Team Japan, Team Canada, the Pan Am Games, NHRA, NASCAR, banking, politics, and much more to achieve weight loss and optimal healthy lifestyles that align with their goals. In this episode, expect to learn how a high school dropout became an expert in weight loss, what it is like becoming a professional snowboarder, why data analytics is essential in changing your body, what is the philosophy of Ikigai, why no one owes you anything, how to kill cravings, who holds the Guinness World Record for longest fast, the power of mentorship, why Dylan proclaims fiber as the fourth macronutrient, how to cure fatty liver disease, why male depression is so prevalent, the effects of dopamine in athletes, and much more. And before we get started, if this show has given you any value, please take the time to like and subscribe. My goal is to have conversations with the highest performers across entertainment, business, fitness, and art to inspire you to get better today. Pressing that like and subscribe button will help me do just that. And with that said, here is Dylan Farr. Nate Biltz Podcast. Keep learning. Keep growing. Get better today. Dylan Farr, everybody.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
How are you?
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, super cool, man. What's up, Nate?
What's up? How does a high school dropout become one of the most knowledgeable people in the health and wellness space in Los Angeles?
That's interesting. Well, first, I probably need to correct that. So I guess in that existential moment, I was a dropout because I went to school and kind of had a curious path into the way that I became a professional snowboarder from Malibu, and it was also associated to school.
Yeah.
But the irony is I did drop out, and I went and got my GED. And actually, it's kind of funny. I think I'm the only person who's got their GED twice because I took it and it came back with an error saying that I had failed it. So I retook it and passed it. But I want to be, just for the sake of the conversation, like, I actually am a high school graduate. I did go to some college. I did go back to school actually and graduated on time. But yeah, I've always owned that I am technically a high school dropout. And it's the fact that I went back and actually graduated from high school was probably one of the most important things I've ever done, because it made me realize how important culmination is.
In what way?
Well, I think, I mentor, kids and teens and even our clients, right? Culmination is super important. Like with my work, I try to create not so much goals, but like time hallmarks, positive affirmation. It's like, how did you do? I finished. And sometimes for me, finishing was actually as much as getting an A, or, because academics was problematic for me, testing. But comprehension and my memory retention is pretty, without sounding like a C word, but whatever. It's like, can I cuss? Like, yeah, being a cunt. But it's like, I have a remarkable memory retention, and
it's impeccable, bro, because when I've talked to you a few times that we have, I've read a lot of books on like health and fitness and all that stuff, but like I have to go back and really read it a few more times, and you're just spitting out information at a rate that I cannot even comprehend sometimes. And then I'm just like, how are you retaining all this information,
I have to. It's the high school dropout, it's like where it's actually really interesting. There's a philosophy that I aligned myself to. This is about like, look, I was straight edge vegan from 13 to 27, but in that journey of being a pro snowboarder, I was like, I was a drug smuggler. I was in like the drug game and I didn't even use it.
What type of drugs?
Just cannabis, but back then it was it was pretty considerable, like the liability that you put on yourself, like if you get caught with it.
Compared to now.
Oh yeah, this is a time of Operation Green Thumb is what it was called. And this is like, so what would happen is the FBI they would case all the hydroponic stores. So going after growers was one thing, but so like, it was just a weird culture. So that, again, and part of my kind of weird circuitous journey of being a professional athlete and finding goal back to that affirmation, I was like, fuck this, I got to do whatever it takes. I don't have the normal faculties to be able to test like normal people, to go to school like normal people, to even work like normal people. So, so the snowboarding route was like, I was like, no way I'm going to get paid to do this. And I was just like humbled. I was like, this is insane. But then also at the same point, it's like, you're getting paid to snowboard. It's like, yeah, I'm getting $300 for the whole season and a pro development contract. So it's like, there's a context that should be related there. But yeah, back in, yeah, it's just back to goals and affirmations and culmination. Like I had a clear design of where I wanted to be. And I never was like, okay, originally I wanted, my whole goal, my whole life was to be a professional athlete.
Why was that your goal?
Well, my grandfather fought Joe Louis and was the #1 heavyweight boxing contender in the world. And I believe it was 1937 that he fought Joe Louis. He won every other title. And yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I suppose it goes into daddy issues and some other shit where.
Did your grandfather inspire you to become a professional athlete? You looked up to him?
No. My grandfather, like Joe Louis, ended up being a bankrupt, maybe a cold man. But to me, he was warm. The legacy in my family, like people reach out and it's like, oh, the champ. Yeah, I mean, it's like, Riddick Bowe to Mike Tyson. I think I sent you that video clip of Mike Tyson looking at my grandfather's fighting, which was super inspiring. It's incredible. So why the professional athlete route then? Yeah, I don't. Well, so this is for me was interesting. As I just grew up, my dad was really intense. The environment, highly egoic. My dad was what does that mean? Egocentric. Nice things, nice looks. We live in LA, man. And so my father came from the rock and roll industry, and I just growing up in environments. I don't think this is something that's. I think it's fairly ubiquitous, but it's like, not measuring up, and it's like you never felt like you measured up to that. Yeah. Well, kind of just the language of my family and stuff was pretty curious. Like, just, a lot of self-aggrandizing and aggrandizing when I was already, I had a pro model, I was traveling the world. I was doing pretty good. And so anyways, why competing? For me, and this is much like with my work now, I love being data-driven. Like, no one can fuck with me or tell me that I failed. I'm like, I came back and I got $2,000 in my pocket and I got 6 in this event. Yeah. Objectively, you have improved and are doing well by your statistics. Yeah, exactly. Like, so for me, it's like, I don't have to sit here and chase my father's acceptance or, trying to get some comments out of my girlfriend or some type of like validation from people. And not that I didn't get it, but I just realized I'm like, oh, the seat's making noises, for me, being a professional athlete, especially in snowboarding, there was such a limited space to get paid. So especially at a time when you came up, snowboarding was just becoming big. Oh yeah, it was wild, man. It was, so I signed my pro development contract in 1993 with Sims. And at the time it was Sims and then it was Burton Snowboards, and they were kind of like the Ford and Chevy. And I actually was in kind of a negotiating milieu between LibTech. It was just really awesome, man. Like I'm so, well shit, I mean, that's why I worked at that surf shop forever. Like it was for me to pay back snowboarding and surfing for this, subtext is, I actually met Nate at a local institution here, a surf shop here in Santa Monica that I worked at just, 5-6 hours. This was probably 5 years ago. He sold me my first wetsuit. Yeah, and then we broke down, and my man Nate's just got really cool energy, and I was like, fuck, I gotta, stay in touch with you, dude. And I know it's kind of corny, but that was really the great benefit of that shop was a lot. I mean, I met Josh Brolin, my mentor. Like a lot of the avenues that I've got into and the space that I work in was like, here I am on your podcast, and look at you, and look at the guests you're having and the growth you've got. So it's awesome, man. I mean, snowboarding as an industry. Like, you know, my name is not significant. You know, it's not going to come up. I was pre-internet, but my goodness, man, like I'm down for that shit. Same with surfing too. You know, it's been such a joy for me in the last 3-4 years. I've had an opportunity to work with a bunch of young ladies and women on the World Surf League, which is the NFL for surfing, if you will.
What has snowboarding, especially in a professional realm, in the training to become one of the best snowboarders in the world, done for you?
Well, so actually, I suppose this would be, but the arc in where I am now, where I've become this kind of polymath in the sense, and I know that sounds cunty, but it's like, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, fascinated by movement, and I have a deep, deep passion for nutrition. So it's kind of wild because the two are coming together now.
Did the snowboarding aspect get you into the...
Yeah. So that's what I was actually getting at is, so in my career, it's wild. I never broke a bone. Is it close? Yeah, never broke a bone, never broke any ligaments. But the thing that really got me was, so I was a technical rider. So that means like we were the first guys to go out in the city. A lot of the rails in Tahoe City and in Truckee, we were the first guys to hit. And what do you mean hit? It's like, so, you know, it's winter and there's these crazy rails at the Truckee Memorial Hospital. Or the other CD back in the day, you know, they sell CDs, the music store in Tahoe City. And then Humpty's was this like bar, all these crazy rails. So it was myself and a few of the boys. A lot of the boys actually were the first to do them. So it was kind of cool. There were like rails that no one had ever done. And also you know, one of my best friends at the time was Kevin Jones, who was one of the most prolific riders. Jim Rippey, you know, he was just before Shaun White. John Summers, you know, I managed some of these guys afterwards. But
Shaun White started at the slopes that I grew up on in China Peak. That was his first home.
Oh yeah, well, Shaun.
Slope.
So his whole family, Roger and Kathy, and then his older brother Jesse was kind of my bro. So Jesse and I like got on, and Shaun was a trip, man, because it was really weird to go to a contest and there's a 12-year-old there ripping that hard where he's going to basically beat all of us. And yeah, so but it's. So well, back to the snowboarding. How did my arc go from? So I got just a lot of concussions.
20, right?
Yeah, 17, like severe ones. Like, but when I first got like sick, if you will, like, or you know, and that's a weird one because I think sick is a loaded. I for so many years thought I got sick from TBI or something like that, and it's like no.
Can you articulate what you define a concussion as? Because a lot of people be like, oh, I got concussion, and they just like bump their head on like their cabinet.
Well, there's clinical references for what constitutes a concussion, and actually they're pretty vague. For me, the sense of concussion is I've lost my sense of smell. You know, my olfaction bulb is tripping out, so I can't smell or I can't see. Matter of fact, now if I get a subconcussion, like, so if we go surfing, right? So back in the day, if you and I surfed, I used to wear a mouth guard because I would kick out of a wave and I do like a flyaway. So where basically you're surfing down the wave and you just jump off the wave. Yeah, and sometimes I would just landing weird. It's not like that now, but anyways, back to my point is like those concussions, we love blame. We love victimhood. And it's like, fuck, you got that many concussions, bro? So anything that's going wrong with me, whether it be like an OCD tendency or even I get depressive or, dude, work shitty.
You're blaming the concussions.
Like, yeah, so it was weird. So suddenly what happened in my life, everything became like that was the life raft to throw everything on. But the truth was, man, is, and I don't think it's, and this is something I really speak to with a lot of, because I work with so many gnarly athletes now, and well, we talked about culmination. We started this conversation about ending. What do you do when you end something and you don't know it's over? So I spent 27 years competing. Like, you know, and what's kind of a trip, like, as far as, like, impressing my family, which is weird because I don't have a great relationship with my family. I don't really speak to any of them. But in 27 years of competing, none of my family ever showed up to compete.
How'd that make you feel?
Well, I mean, naturally, in looking back on that, it's like, woe is me. And it's not a big fucking deal because the truth is like, it just isn't. It's unfortunate, but we go back and we look at, like, what drove me. You know, it's like, well, I can't get you to show up to my contest, but here's 2 covers I got this season in magazines. And I can't get you to show up, but I made 50 grand this year in photo incentive, not including my travel incentive, not including my salary. By the way, I have 3 apartments I got one in Innsbruck, one in LA, and one in Lake Tahoe. What are you chasing, dude? And it was weird. I put myself in a bad, well, what happened was the snowboard industry too. It's much like the surf industry now. It's like, the shop that you and I met at, it's closed. It was part of a massive ecosystem in the surf industry that 130 stores just closed. But anyway, so that just happened in surfing, but I was in a growth, like a zenith and nadir in the snowboard industry. Much it's happening in skateboarding and just so much stuff's changing right now. But long story short, it was what an incredible experience. To be a professional snowboarder in the late 90s, early 2000s, riding for Sims. I my whole deal was I wanted to be a professional surfer, and every sponsor I had was from the surf industry. O'Neill, Reef, Arnett. And what's ironic is now, I guess segueing into like what I'm doing now is a lot of the relationships that I kind of were the touch points, the beginning of them. 25 years later, or even longer, a lot of these guys I get to work with, Garth.
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah, it's nuts, dude. Like
even you being here right now on the pod, it's just we had one conversation and we vibed based off our training experience.
Yeah.
Just one conversation. That one time that I decided to come to that surf shop.
And actually, I got to say something. Dude, you look awesome.
Thank you, dude.
What you're doing and stuff. And with the podcast and just your vibe, I've been watching that. And it's really exciting to see, well, I was going to say this earlier. I get a little ADD, but so here's the deal. The thing that I basically built, like how did the snowboarding thing manifest into the nutrition thing and the wellness thing and the blood work thing and where I'm at is there's this fantastic philosophy. I believe it's a philosophy, but maybe it's just a mental model or a paradigm, and it's called Ikigai. And I hope I'm pronouncing that.
That's correct.
Yeah, so Ikigai to me is... it's like I love philosophy. It's really like important to me. And it's like Ikigai, my sense of it is, what's your passion? That's easy.
Why is that easy? A lot of people have a hard time saying, I don't know what my passion is. I'm trying to find it.
Well, that's fuck, how do I say this without sounding shitty? That's like a person who's a picky eater. I look at them and I say, hey, fuck off. You've never been hungry. You've never had no money in your pocket and not been able to eat.
It's different because I
know that's harsh, but it's
true though. Because if you see a raw chicken breast with no seasoning on it and you won't eat it, you're not hungry.
Yeah. Also to me, I'm like, that's 28 grams of super lean protein. And all I just need is a little lemon and salt, and let's fucking go. Like
hot sauce will be good.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Like, but so the thing is for me, and I guess in the pantheon of my green flags and red flags is gratitude. Shit, dude. Like, a lot of people in my age and stuff, or people are getting sick, man. Like, we look at the obesity, this and that. And it's like it's bananas to me that there's, and I don't want to sound corny because I was like, oh yeah, gratitude, just really be present. Fuck off, dude. Like, it's more along the lines of just being in it. I get that people want to spout about it and stuff, and that's awesome. But the truth is, it's like, do you look like it?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people like to talk about the work, but the work is actually the hardest part.
Yeah, when no one's watching. Dude, you walk in, like what you've got set up here.
Yes, sir.
No one's seeing like what's going on here. But I walk in here, you know what's really interesting? This studio space is pretty cool. But me walking around and seeing what you're reading that no one knows you're reading. What about the way that you package and store your shit? I can see your passions and priorities. I can see the hierarchy of your priorities, in your house. That's really interesting, dude. Like, so those, I can see there's, also this gratitude thing doesn't have to be wholly positive. I appreciate the Stoic thing of brief. It's premeditatio malorum. Premeditation's the evils.
Yeah.
Pull your pants down and jerk off on the shittiest thing that's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to have a heart attack. Or you're going to be in a car accident. Like, it's really wild. I used to do that competing. I'd be like, your binding broke. Your boot failed. You waxed I used to like, and I also say like, I use that term like to masturbate because there's like it's like a confounding statement. It's like, masturbate into we do it, dude. There's one model, it's called, we all talk about imposter syndrome. What a bunch of shit that is, dude. Try FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Yeah. That's my motherfucker, dude. That's the thing in my shadow.
Yeah, I've been thinking about imposter syndrome a lot in the sense of, I don't think it's real.
Yeah.
And the reasoning is because you feel like you're not fit, or you feel like you're not healthy, or you feel like you're not smart enough. You probably are not fit enough. You probably aren't smart enough. Like if you hit the gym 6 days a week, like I'm building the confidence now that I could say like I could run up a mountain, I could lift heavy weight at a light body weight. You know, now I have the confidence. I didn't realize it, and you don't understand that feeling until you put the work in.
Well, also something, you know, like at my age, right? Like I'm over 50, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like when do we become successful? When do we become healed? When do we, you know, it's like you and I were briefly talking about dating and stuff, and like a lot of people and women, you'll hear about like trauma and drama, and I'm like, boo, like what, like when do we get to a place where things are like you can leave them alone or you can move forward from it? Something I've been saying to a lot of my clients and people I've been talking to is like, COVID's over.
Like 5 years.
Yeah, man, it's been 5 years, but there's a lot of people who are like, it's kind of like they're still in the milieu of this, like the minutia of this thing. And I still get it, man. I mean, look, family relationships, personal relationships, I had some stuff that's like, just fuck. You know, a lot of us went through some weird stuff, but also a lot of us,
thrived.
I was going to say thrived. Is that a word?
We can make it a word.
Yeah, thrived. But no, thrived and grew. I mean, look at your deal, man. Like, you know, you're taking your podcast and traveling with it. It's like my business. I mean, I cannot believe. It's just mind-bending. I sit there and I think about like who I've worked with and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like, I mean, the coolest place to be is to be excited. And am I scared? Am I in doubt? Absolutely, dude. I don't know what's going on.
I feel like it's a good place to live, though, and that excitement all the time.
Be scared and hungry. So actually what I was going to say earlier about like being in this construct of gratitude, it's kind of like a little bit cliche and corny. How about be scared and fucking hungry and then be nice about it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
you don't need to be the dick who's chasing his goals.
Yeah, like, what's his name? The funny dude, he wears the goofy suits, but he's really a great speaker. Or he says some things that are really like the way he orates is Jordan Peterson, right? So that guy, so he's a trip. I don't appreciate everything he says, but a lot of it's pretty cool.
His book changed my life when I was in college. 12 Rules for Life.
Yeah, but he was saying to be a monster. Like he has this really interesting thing because it's like
and be able to control it.
Yeah, and it's like
makes you a dangerous man.
Yeah, and it's like the notion of being a dangerous man. You know, this is talk about like. Being unreasonable, you know, it's like being reasonable. Ew, be reasonable when you're dead, you know, like, but being unreasonable, you know, these kind of inversions, much like Charlie Munger's, you know, inversion theory, right? You know, don't worry about being, you know, smart. Just, it's a lot easier to focus on like not being dumb. And it's,
that man probably had some of the most insightful lessons. Charlie Munger.
Oh, he's
R.I.P. He just passed away last year.
Yeah, straight up. And it's like, well, are you familiar with FS Blog?
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh, dude. Okay, so when I split, let me get your address, and I'm going to send you a book. Shane Parrish, The Mental Models.
What's that about?
Oh, it's fantastic. So it's a book where he's curated like most of the, you know. So for instance, with my work, right? So I'm a metabolic, like it sounds corny, but like a metabolic coach. It fucking sounds super stupid, but
I guess before we get into that, why did you become vegan? At an early age.
Yeah, originally, so this is interesting. I went to a thing called the School of Urban and Wilderness Survival, which was like, it actually got shut down by the government. When I was there, a kid had died, fallen off a cliff. It was basically, it was like outward bound. It was like, but like not cool. And so when I was there, we basically, you know, it was like, it's undescribable. I mean, basically, I caught rattlesnakes. My technique and skill was making traps. So I caught like rock wrens, and like we ate grasshoppers. We ate dead carrion. I mean, it was like.
What's carrion?
That's carcass.
Oh.
Yeah. So like I figured out how to take, you know, sinew off a dead animal and turn it into like a threadable, like something that you could stitch up in your clothes.
How did you get into this camp?
So I was 12. So I was 12 years old, and it's kind of weird. So growing up in my family, my granddad said, "You're out of the house at 16," which is kind of like
tough love.
Yeah, it's not tough love. Yeah, it's just like you're out, dude. Like you're a young man. But that's in Europe, and that's back in like I think like what was it like late 50s? I think whatever.
What part of Europe?
Well, that my dad was in England, you know, and then you also got to remember my grandfather was Tommy Farr, the Tana Panditer, like. And then my dad was Tommy Farr Jr. So like, fuck, imagine being Mike Tyson Jr.
Yeah.
It's like, so my dad had it kind of wild. So he told me, he said, look, here's $100, passport, you're out. So him and my uncle, they fucked off to Sweden and began their life. And then my dad actually became one of the largest music producers and promoters in the world. And
For music festivals, right?
yeah, he did.
In the 60s, 70s?
Yeah, Isle of Wight music festivals. If any guys Google that, it's, East Afton Farms. Yeah, big stuff, man. So
For someone who has a very not good relationship with their family, you talk very highly of them a lot.
Well, it's not that okay, let's be clear on that. A lot of us have in different relationships. So for me to say it's not good, it's like I don't have one. Since COVID, there's no communication. And I've reached out and said, hey, I miss my family, and got the response I got. But I think this is really, really important because a lot of us walk around, hurt, by like people we love and people we care about. They don't show up the way that we want. And so I spent a lot of energy and time trying to rationalize this. And I'm not superhuman, but the greatest thing that I could take away from this, and hopefully this maybe helps out, anyone who hears this, is that our parents and family do not owe us anything. My parents, no one in my family owes me anything, including a text or a call, including a check-in, including given the subtext. What are they? What is family? What is any of it? They are tools of existence. So as I'm sitting here talking about this kind of cool career I had, and fuck, I mean, my lifestyle's been awesome, dude. Like it hasn't been easy, but it's been really cool. Like you don't hear me complain ever. Have you ever seen me? I'm
no,
pretty,
optimistic guy.
Yeah, psyched. But yeah, so for that, I'm like, look, I'm 6'3", I'm 225. I'm
genetically blessed.
Yeah, like the hair sucks, but I don't, fuck, dude. Like I
feel like bald guys rock it, bro.
Yeah. What he's like, yeah. But anyway, so the thing is like, it's still good. Like I went riding this season. I still on the water. I can put my tail out athletically, and it's, and dating girls that are like, I mean, it's just wild. Like it's such a trip being like a male as I am now, but also it's just weird. It's cool. But
the vegan stuff.
Yeah.
The camp.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks for bringing me back. So I went on that camp, and basically I got exposed to some really serious, like, here's the deal. Like, a girl that was there, this is wild. Her name was Kitty, 16 years old, and she was one of the older people in the group, and she was a prostitute. And I remember being like, wait, what? And for me, a prostitute was someone that Jack the Ripper killed, right? I never had a sense of like,
I mean, you were 12.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, I'm like a prostitute. Like and so she was having like severe, like, female issues there. And then also not only that, she went through withdrawals. And bro, like
drugs.
Yeah, straight up. Like, so from like, and I remember she's like, yeah, I was shooting speedballs. And I'm like, speedball? And I'm like, what's a speedball? And
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, speedball is, I guess you inject meth. Pretty sure, but it was like, whoa. And I was like, speedball. And I'm like, isn't that something you drink? That's something my dad would drink or something, or my uncle.
Sounds like a cocktail.
Yeah, but so to see that, yeah, and just, it was gnarly. I mean, we'd walk between, 10 and 30 miles a day. And we had no backpacks. Everything was fashioned. We had backpacks, but they weren't, but anyways, I mean, if you go and look at my Instagram, I got photos on it where we did run-in, and run-in was wild. My mom said she could hear us for like 2 hours. And it's like, what do you mean you could hear us? How could you hear someone for 2 hours? Well, we wore these, we would bring our cooking utensils with us. Like, so we had these pots and pans. And what would happen is when you'd walk, they would clank. So I remember when we got into sequence, our steps and the clanks. And it was wild. So when we did run-in, dude, my mom said she could hear us for like, I don't know if it's like 2 hours. I'm for sure is embellishing, but it was like a long time. And she was like, it sounded like you were a ghost because we were crying. Get emotes, like wailing. We were like, oh, like it was weird.
Did your parents put you in this camp?
No, actually. So that's the crazy thing. Like all of this stuff sounds like my parents were devils. They weren't. I actually wanted to go to this thing. I was like, so back to leaving home at 16. My dad's like, fuck, you're out of here at 15, 16. I was like, all right. And I was a little guy and I wasn't big. I was real talkative, a lot of energy, kind of just like I do now, feel a little awkward with so much energy, but fuck only all. But yeah, man, so I was like, nah, I want to be gnarly. So I was like, I want to go to this thing and get my shit together. And it was weird. I think this was the first time I realized would like rationalize like existential depression, where I was like I don't like myself. And what was weird is I remember telling my parents, my dad that, and he goes, well, that's a weird thing to say. And I was like, and I was just like expressing to it. And then that
Especially back then.
Yeah, what was weird, I mean, I'm 13 and I'm reading Nietzsche, like, Beyond Good and Evil, and like, Zarathustra and stuff. I was so fascinated, but my mom thought it was like, oh, you're being such a genius. Well, no, that was bullies. Like, how do you know? Like, that's another thing too. When I grew up, the bullying was pretty real deal. I was part of busty segregation here in LA. So when we moved here from England. I came in, that's why I don't sound anything British. Believe it, dude. I fucking it took me 3 days to annihilate and eliminate my accent. Because it's like I was going from, my dad had dough, obviously. And they were like, well, you're gonna go to public school. In Europe, public school is the high standard. Well, here it was like kind of a naive, a social trope that is the opposite. So back in the day, I'm getting bussed in like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. And that was my first exposure to real school here. I went to Montessori school before that.
What type of bullying did you experience?
I was just like physical and like just gnarly, like, blah, 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 like whatever you want to think, it was that and maybe worse just because I was so little. And then my parents, I dressed weird. My parents were rock and roll producers. So you can imagine that.
What was the craziest experience that you remember?
Honestly, it's just having to hold it down, Honestly, it was like, that wasn't that bad. It was like when I ran away to Hawaii and I ran away a few times, like where I was just like, I'm out of here. And what was ironic was my parents kind of had my sanction because I told them.
Yeah.
It was like
So how did this experience get you to becoming vegan?
Well, anyway, so back to the vegan thing. I just ate these animals and I was like, so for me, it wasn't so much about not eating animals. It was more about like, I didn't want to take. So I'd been out on this journey at Seuss, and seeing things die. And I was like, there's an abundance of plant protein that I can eat. It's so abundant. And then I was just like, I just don't want to take anything because in my life, I just always was tripped out. I was like, people just take. They're taking emotionally, physically, everything's transactional. And I was like, I just want to be the guy who takes the least. And, in my life, I always tell people, if you can be anything, especially the teens I mentor, is like, be a guest. I'm like, what do you mean? I said, dude, make your fucking bed, bro. But that's your bed. But when you treat it like it's, be a guest in your own bed, to be a guest in your own house, look how clean that house is going to be. Your car, you're this, like be a guest in your own body. Because most of us who are actually a guest, there's this kind of weird sacred frequency in being a guest. And so it's like, yeah, it's cool. It's also what's interesting to
you treat it better.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, a lot of
you also never offended. I didn't mean, I wanted to finish that point. It's weird as a guest. You're always like, like if someone comes up and goes, hey, don't do that. You know what I mean? And I think in life, it's important that we don't get offended. So something, I know it's a weird one, but like if you're a guest, you're always like, oh, I'm sorry. You're almost like, you walk light.
Also, a lot of people like giving advice, but usually they don't follow it sometimes, if that makes sense.
Well,
like the unfit trainer,
Well, so... Yeah, that one's interesting. I mean, what's been really interesting for me is like, I'm not doing anything else. I don't want to be an actor. I don't want screenplays. I work with gnarly showrunners and producers and Olympians and all these people. There's nothing more that I want to do is exactly what I do right now. And I think, I don't know, it's like, it's so easy to get kind of like lost in the hubris of being surrounded by, one, the money's pretty good. Like if you're actually doing this shit and you're working with proper clients, the money's pretty good. And then, but the thing is we get into this, like, we were just talking about like the influencing space, like how the influencing space right now is like kind of coming in on itself. And then I was talking to you about like, well, influencing is one thing, but information's another. The ability to lighthouse and be, so what's funny is like, I was following this obscure blog back in 2011, 2012 of this doctor who was a fat triathlete. Well, that's funny because this is how I was a fat CrossFitter doing CrossFit Strongman. I'm like, how the fuck am I training this much? And I was
a powerlifter too. I was pretty heavy set.
Yeah, what's up with that? So that guy, honestly, his name's Dr. Peter Attia, who's now like super big time and significant. But even today I saw him, you know, you get
You had a blog since 2011. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's wild, dude. So like,
That's impressive.
James Clear, I have his first book, you know, the weightlifting philosopher. Like that's another guy, but well before Atomic Habits. So yeah, it's interesting to see so many of these. Forgive me, let me go backwards. Shane Parrish, fs.blog. Order the book, The Mental Models.
No, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. So like, you know, Hanlon's razor, you know, that people don't have it in for you or aren't shitty on you. They're just selfish and they're absorbed into their own universe.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit, that's called agenda. Boom, that makes things a lot safer. Act like a guest. If everyone's got an agenda, you know, expectation is a premeditated resentment, right? Well, if you see the world that everyone's got an agenda, fuck, I called you and I said, hey, like, I want to be on this podcast. Well, why? Well, yeah, kumbaya, but guess what? You have a growing platform. And what I do is let's share it.
Yeah.
There's going to be an agenda somewhere. But yeah, so back to the thing about guest and gratitude and stuff. The bottom line is look at how fantastic everything is. Like the medium of what you're doing here, like you're doing this on your own, bro.
Yes, sir.
The amount of agency that is available to us motherfuckers in 2025 is absurd.
Not just with podcasting, with everything.
Everything. So for instance, it's like my fitness and like how and why I train. Most people are like, that's what you do. And that's as much as you do or as little as you do. And that's how you eat. And this and that. It's like, yep. Everything is a technique. Like what I coach is in a diet. It's a technique.
You said diet is a technique.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for instance, like everything. Okay, so first off, let's distill what a technique is. A technique means skill or method in a colloquial sense. Like that's, you know, is an anecdote. The bottom line is like so much of us, or so many of us rather, are so caught up in like, I don't know, it's weird. It's kind of like almost the surface where it's like, I don't know, it's a trip, man. I just realized that like in my work, for instance, everyone's like, well, what about NMR? Creatine, it's good for depression. And I'm like, dude, I got depression. Fuck creatine, dude. It gives me an upset tummy, makes me want to shit like an old judge, dude. Seriously, like we are focusing on minors when it's the majors. Did you lift today? And when you lifted, was it joint protective? Did you get that myokine signaling? Just a little bit? Cerebrovascular tension? Because that myokine signaling and the cerebrovascular tension, if you just focus on those two things, you're good.
Or that, I love that. You're focusing on the minors and you're not playing in the majors. And there's so many people who don't do their cardio or don't lift heavy weights or don't do the proper amount of protein and carb intake. It's both,
Yeah,
you know?
and they're talking about like, and hey, fair play, man. Look, so here's the thing, man. Like everyone's gonna dance to the music the way they dance. I love it as long as they're dancing. But, you know, pre-workouts and like I said, NMR, and it's like, did you listen to this podcast? Did you listen to that? First off, love the podcast. There's no indictment there, but it's really like, what are you getting out of it? Like the podcast I listen to now, I want to hear dynamism. Like I want to hear like, how the fuck does this guy think? How does he function?
I think there's just too much information out there that people have a hard time finding what is right for them.
Yes. Well, that's why for myself, embracing mental models, right? So like the Feynman technique, you know, Professor Feynman, I believe I'm pronouncing it right.
That's correct.
You know, it's like you know, how do you distill complex information in a simple way? I mean, the people I work with, I mean, dude, it's like there's no bandwidth. And it's like, well, how do you convey intrinsically complex information that has to be applied? Because here's the deal, in my work, it's about application. Everything else is, I tell people, I go, if the stimulus is not producing an adaptation, fuck off, it doesn't work. That's me, that's you, that's anyone. Like, you know, it's like if you're-
It's the output, right?
Yes, it is the output, but it's more like it's-
Like if you're not getting the results, it's not working.
Yeah, it's like, it's the accretion. Like what are you actually, so in another metaphorical way, we could talk about people are focusing on mechanism more than the outcome. And so it's like, you know, people are like, well, they'll start talking about some goofy shit. And I go, you know, autophagy, right? It's like, oh, well, you know, did you know that fasting and this and that? And I go, well, first off, that's not true. Exercise and being in calorie restriction promotes, you know, apoptosis on an autophagic response. Another thing too, dude, that shit never stops. If autophagy or apoptosis stops, guess what? You stopped, you're dead. Like, because this is like the sum game of metabolism. Like things are being built up and then they're breaking down. So I think we get in a lot of like kind of masturbations over certain things that it's like, you know, like in your case, you look tremendous. But right now you're dealing hedonics, craving, not being a grumpy bastard because you're cutting, right? How are you?
A lot of caffeine.
Yeah. So like what is the technique behind you?
So
you feel me? And
when you say that, it's interesting. So like, I would say right now, I'm mostly practicing an extreme level of discipline. And it's not that I don't have cravings. And you have a big thing of like, I could help you kill cravings. And what is your method towards that?
Well, let's reiterate that. First of all, cravings, you can't, forgive me, you said kill them? Yeah, I don't kill them. What we want to understand is that ghrelin and leptin, okay, there's a multi.
What are those?
Okay, so ghrelin and leptin are two primary hormones that are responsible for satiety, right? The one tells us when to eat, one tells us we're not hungry, okay? So ghrelin is what triggers in the morning. So you wake up, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, I want breakfast. That's ghrelin being active. Leptin is basically a satiety kind of modulator, if you will. Remarkably, there's another one, and I don't think it's a hormone, but it's called neuropeptide YY. And this is what's interesting is like, the aunties and abuelas are like, oh, drink some water, honey, you're going to eat too much. And it's like, so what happens is the neuropeptide YY sits down in the lower part of the ecosystem, if you will, in your stomach. When something passes that, it triggers a response from the kind of the satiety ecosystem to tell you not to, like, that food has gotten there, so chill out. Because the body also is this thing that's exquisitely designed for physics. Remember, food weighs something. So here's a weird one, right? So a gram of glycogen, which is the end currency of carbohydrate and sugar, 1 gram of that requires typically like 2.8 to like almost 4 grams of water, depending on the human. So for instance, like, say I was working with you and you're like, dude, why are you having me, like, let's speak anecdotally. Why the weigh-ins, why this? Why are you so tripped out on my weight? I'm not worrying about your weight at all. I'm actually looking for the bloat events. So what did you eat? So how do we like, quote unquote, dry you out? So like right now I'm weighing like 225. Dude, if I eat normal and like I'm 232 and I look tremendous. I don't look any, but if I dry out, I'm 216 and it looks like I look like Tom Hanks and Mr. Wilson or whatever. Like, so, but anyway, so again, back to the technique of trying to establish baselines of like, well, where are you at as far as like how much water you're retaining? Then what I do is I go backwards into like, what are fundamental things that have to be observed, majors, minors, right? So what are essentials? So this is a huge cornerstone of what I do. Essential means the body has to have it exogenously. It has to be brought in outside of. And so what are
those majors?
Exactly, dude. So this is brilliant. And this is how we start simplifying it. So we have essential electrolytes, minerals and vitamins. Okay, you need those. Trace minerals, okay? Essential fatty acids. Okay, that's fats. Bro, you don't get the right fats after 14 days, you're done. Hormones go to shit. Well, like especially if you cut, super hard, hormones. And then so, and then the last one is essential amino acids, our friend's protein. So, we know that, especially this is a great segue to talk about semaglutide and the incretins, GLP-1.
Let's go back to
because I'll go off.
No, you're good. The killing cravings.
Oh, so the killing craving thing. So thanks for bringing that in. The deal is we have two brains, okay, ostensibly. So we have the prefrontal cortex and then we have the reptilian brain. And what happens is craving triggers will be induced by evolutionary drivers and then also by food science, okay? Food science is basically people in food laboratories who are designing food for storage, hyperpalatability, and hyperavailability, okay? So the
addiction of food.
Yes. Now, so let's slow down. This isn't nefarious. I don't want to sound like RFK Jr. or whatever. Like, what it is that if, like, for instance, my work, dude, I want to do a real good fucking job with it. I want my clients to rebook. How do I make it attractive and good and yummy and palatable? It's no different, man. If you own a business and you're like, hey, we want to sell more of these, and you look at like, okay, well, within the margins of the FDA and food controls, we're going to spend $280,000 a year on each of these food scientists, make my food the crunch, the texture so good that when it hits my palate continent, I'm like, holy shit, I need more. Like, is that nefarious? They're not trying to poison us, dude. They're speaking to a limbic resonance that we own and that we, that it's put it like this. The minute we reframe that and understand our limbic resonance, because I explain it like this. It's kind of goofy, but I claim the 5 macros, right? It's like protein, fats, carbs, fiber, and hedonics.
Hedonics meaning?
Just that's it. Like, the sensibility of I can't put it down. The masturbatory sense of like wanting things.
Yeah.
They drive that, dude. It's interesting, like the notion of like drugs and people taking drugs, like they say that the pull and the yield of wanting to do the drugs or the yield of wanting to have sex is more important than the act of the sex or taking the drugs.
Sure.
It's, actually this is really, really interesting.
Real quick before you go into that. The two things that are the hunger and the satiety, what are those two things again?
Oh, ghrelin and leptin. Yeah, it says GHRELIN.
Okay, ghrelin and
yeah.
leptin. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned on one of your last podcasts, one of the Guinness World Record guy of the 382-day fast of Angus Barry, right?
Yeah, the Scotsman.
And he talks about it. I did a little bit of research on him.
Great.
And after a certain amount of time, he didn't crave food.
Yeah.
And how, in your opinion, does someone fast for over a year without eating any solid food?
Well, this is a great question. So first off, let me premise why originally where I found that. I worked with a guy named Scott Hayes for a Guillermo del Toro movie. Josh Brolin had forwarded him to me. And
Antlers.
Yeah, for Antlers. And shout out to Josh. And he it was pretty serious, dude. So like I was just coming up. It was the first time I'm like in the game with this stuff. And basically, we had like 63 days or 67 days, and basically it was 47 pounds in 58 days. It was just under 68 days. We got him on set at 137 pounds. How? So to be understood, let's explain what the body is. The body is an adaptive and dynamic energy system. In the absence of energy in food, the body will create it. So if you guys use a blood glucometer like I do and program with my clients, we'll see after exercise and waking up, your blood glucose will go up. Why? The body has 3 obligate needs that have to be accommodated. So the liver is always going to be an ability to produce glucose for these obligate needs. So in the case of the body, understanding that it's adaptive and dynamic, it's always eating, dude. Okay, so the thing is that in the presence of food, right? So here's a weird one. This goes back to like mechanisms. There's a thing called the Randall cycle. Y'all go look it up. In the presence of fat and sugar, the body will always go to will go to sugar first because it's inflammatory. It comes with extra weight. Remember, I told you that glycogen or carbs are associated with water. So there's this weird evolutionary elegance that kind of, if you look at the way the body works, and so then this goes back to another thing from the Randall cycle. We look at a thing called the oxidative priority. So if you guys go to my Instagram, you'll see that's like, I've had some clients where they're holding alcohol. We're talking like significant weight loss. How? Well, the deal is that the body has a hierarchy in managing energy substrates from intake. So from ketones, protein, carbs, and fat, if you expose yourself to those things, your body will pick out which things it utilizes first, which is called the oxidative, which means burning, priority. So when you understand that the body has a fundamental function to it.
And it has systems that prioritize one thing before the others.
You nailed it. So that's it. So if we understand that, so for instance, like, okay, so here's a pro tip for all y'all, like if you like to drink. I personally don't drink, I prefer my cannabis, but it's like if you go out to drink, we understand that alcohol has no storage capacity in the body. Okay, it has none. Body cannot manage, so it has to manage and deliberate that. So if you eat alcohol, so every protein, and then we start talking about what's called non-protein energy foods, which is in carbs and fat, all of those substrates are getting super stored. So when people drink, like you're gonna go into like a super stored, you're going into a state called hyperphagia. And so long story short, like if you like to drink, what do you do? And it's like, don't eat any carbs and fat. And I know it sounds a little bit strict, but if you're gonna do that, fast into the event, eat your normal meals. And then when you actually drink that night, don't be a kook, like measure yourself, but if you're gonna do that, just eat your proteins. And and it works well. Again, this goes back to, it's a technique.
Yeah. I wanna dive into why you think that, or how you know that someone could fast for that long?
Well,
question.
So back to that. So just to circle back, so the body is always eating. Okay, so here's a scoop. If the body in the presence of non-protein energy it's going to take that energy and it's going to utilize it. So non-protein energy is fats and carbohydrate, okay? Carbohydrates typically get burned immediately, okay? Fats are really weird. Fats, like when you eat fats, they have to get stored first and then get utilized. So the irony is most of us, we burn between 100 and 150 grams of fat a night, like straight up, like the nature of our metabolism. So then I always ask my clients, I go, hey, why aren't you a quarter pound lighter every day? Because I mean, what is it, 114.8 grams to a quarter pound, if I remember right? So it's like, why aren't you lighter? Because of interruption. So if you're sitting there from the dose of fat, so trip on this, I live a ketogenic lifestyle. A real keto diet is remiss of fat.
Meaning?
I know this is a bit of a philosophical mindfuck, but people are like, well, that's bullshit. You can't eat a ketogenic diet. I didn't say I eat a ketogenic diet. I said I live a ketogenic lifestyle. So I eat moderate to high protein, make sure that I have circulating amino acids in my body, morning, noon, and night. That's the first important, okay? Carbohydrates are managed. You guys are gonna trip out. I eat 75 grams of carbohydrate a day. Sourdough bread is compliant. You're like, that's not ketogenic.
That's also not a lot of carbs, though.
No, exactly. And so this is most people have this zero-sum game with carbohydrate. So when I work with any of my clients, I go, how to eat for 2 weeks. So shout out to my girl Miriam and her dude up in Mammoth right now. She's just eating. She sends me pics, pulling blood glucose data. How do you eat? And then we go backwards. And she's like, oh my God, well, she eats no carbohydrate. That's crazy, dude. Carbs are anti-catabolic and neuroprotective. Bro, you want to put on some muscle and look fucking amazing? Eat your carbs. But they should be, and this is a big
regulated.
Well, as we say, carbs are managed. So protein's a rule, carbs are managed. Fat is a lever.
Lever, how so?
Eat more fats, you're gonna chonk up, pull the lever down. Chonk, get fat. Yeah, get chunky.
It's funny that you say that.
And then the last one this is the funny one, and then electrolytes is the magic.
How so?
Okay, so here's the thing. Back to the 3 essentials, right? So electrolyte management, most of the time that we're having a craving or a driver, it is not from carbs.
It's from lack of electrolytes.
It's from a lack of one of the 3 E's. Okay, so it's proteins don't have any, there's no, okay, so if you don't eat protein after about 21 days, you're gonna die. Yeah. But that's because you've muscle wasted. It's not because protein's innately like...
But that guy didn't eat food for 382 days.
Yes, well, hold on a second. So what happened was, let's explain that. Let's focus on that. So the deal is that Angus Barbieri came in there, I believe he was 382 pounds, and he got down to like 180 pounds.
I have it right here. It's 400 and something. It was 460 pounds, and he dropped down to 276.
And he fasted for 382 days. Is that correct?
382 days. He lost 276 pounds. Yes. He started at 460 pounds.
Okay, so he was heavier. So he finished at around 180, I believe. Is that correct?
So 460 minus 276.
Because I have the original study. It's fascinating.
Yeah, 460 minus 276, whatever that is. So it's 184.
Yeah. That's as I remember. So let's explain what happened. First off, back in the day, people don't do this now because so if you go to Russia or you go to any like Slavic countries, if you go to a retreat or a health retreat, you go to a sanitarium where they fast you. The Kellogg, the guy who started, Mr. Kellogg, Dr. Kellogg, he was huge into fasting. He had all of his sanitariums where you just go and they would they make you not eat.
Why do you think, before you continue, why do you think the monks and the samurais and all those spiritual type of people fast for long periods of times?
Well, okay, first off, I mean, do you want the esoteric? You want me as a former practicing Buddhist, or do you want me to explain the science on it?
All of it.
Okay, so first off, clarity and the ability to strip yourself from the noise. Okay, one, you can't. So if anyone who's practiced transcendental meditation or got deep into meditation, the noise never goes away. What it is the ability to be quiet amongst the noise. I mean, that's kind of like stoic for like what's going on in like society now. So in the fasting sense, the first thing is just to calm the mind. And then in the Buddhist sense, it's to calm desire, right? Because desire is the bane of all humanity. And as said then, it was like we're only 5-foot bags of excrement, of walking excrement. I remember that one from Suzuki Shosan in his book. So the irony is, though, is like we're worthless and we're worth nothing, but I contend we're worth everything. You know, so,
everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah, like I do have some God in my life, and it's like the truth is, man, like that's why I don't like. It's too good. With all the struggles and bullshit I've gone through, and then all the good things, it's too good. It's look at what's going on, bro. So the thing is so back to the original point was like the fasting thing, right? So what happens with the body? So the body from non-protein energy, meaning carbs, when it is remiss of that, the liver goes into a state called gluconeogenesis. And what that means is like gluco, sugar, new, genesis, life. And what happens is these 3 obligate needs. So that's why like this is wild, man, go buy a glucometer. When you wake up, it's typically elevated. So in people who are diabetics, they call this Samoyed effect, or they call it dawn phenomenon. So some people will wake up and they'll have like really high blood glucose, okay? Dylan, I'll wake up some mornings, my blood glucose will be at 145. I'm well fasted.
What is high?
Okay, well, so in the context of clinical...
research?
No, diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah, so let me explain those. So there's 2 types of insulin reception, and this is really what's fascinating. That's why I really encourage all you guys. As a matter of fact, if any of you get your fasting insulin and you want to know what it means, just DM me, and I'll send you to the website and you can look at it. But so the homeostatic insulin reception test. So say that I take on a new client and they go, well, how long do I got to work for you? Work with me rather. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, 15 weeks or it's going to be 2 years. Where do I establish that baseline? I look at their fasting insulin. So shout out to my client, Christine in Cape Cod. We just did, it was like 2.5 years. We got her insulin from 16.7. It's now down to 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so people talk about losing weight and this and that. So the thing is what does that measure up to? So if you take that fasting insulin and you times it by your blood glucose, you will get a number of value. So that value, depending on where it sits, if you're below 1, you're awesome. If you're below like 1.4, you're pretty good. So this is known as the HOMA-IR, so homeostatic insulin reception test and assessment, some shit like that. And basically what it is that tells us where you sit in the metabolic story. So the first thing I do is like there's 5 markers for metabolic syndrome. Let me see if I get this right. Total cholesterol, hypertension, shitty LDL, it's shitty HDL, excuse me.
LDL is a good one, right?
Yeah, it's the HDL is a good one.
HDL is a good one.
Elevated triglycerides, and I think it was hypertension, and forgive me if I goofed that. But those 5 markers. So people are like, well, if you have 2 of those, you've got metabolic. Bullshit. I've got clients right now that are amazing looking. Nope, we get in there and it's like by margin, there is no such thing as just like, oh, well, you are, you aren't. Mm-hmm. Everything's in a spectrum. So there's also genetics. So by the way you come from, like you respond to certain foods. Like me, I come from England, man. We like meat pies and shitty beer. Like, the way that I respond to foods is going to be intrinsic to where I'm from.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say that because like I'm taking supplements that irritate your stomach, right? So I'm taking creatine and L-glutamine and those are the main ones. Vitamin D, zinc, magnesium citrate.
Well, I challenge you. I want you to send me your stuff just because I'm your boy and stuff.
Yeah.
Send me all your stuff and I'd love to look at it. And if I can contribute to you on your journey, dude. Like,
thanks, man. I'm 43 days out from my show. I started
insane.
at 170 pounds. I am currently 151 this
morning. You look
morning.
tremendous, dude. I mean, that insertion points. And, I don't typically work with people on aesthetics and bodybuilding, but it's, having walked around aesthetic, like, it's kind of like, I know it sounds horrible, but it's like, I got into that space. It's gnarly, dude. It's such a, for people who don't understand like what you're doing and like it's it's like, oh, you're just a self-obsessed C-word. And it's like, nah, man, it's like, the place to I'm fascinated by the notion of virtuosity, which is a study of mastery. It's like, where can you go? Me,
this is the first thing that I've ever given 100% to.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I have a feeling you put your game in. I have a feeling this is, I can't say no, but I have a feeling you put 100% into other things, dude. But I have a feeling that this has got you've looked at you've designed the trajectory arc from start, medium, and finish. And I think that is something that's probably different. But I think you're maybe discounting yourself or selling yourself short, saying you've never invested 100%. I would say
I take that back. I said I would say now I am investing 100% with the proper knowledge of each aspect of the journey.
Yeah. Well, I think too is like when you have like a cumulative strategy. So it's kind of going back to like the HOMA IR. Like I can tell a person, I go, hey, this is probably going to be a year.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when we,
what's the reaction when it's that long? Because a year's a long time to a lot of people.
It can be, but I mean, the thing is like, so what I do is my program is built around 6 weeks because it's like, we kind of like to have a little bit of the fight camp vibe. And then I go into like what we call like a 2.0. But the truth is, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what I bill and like what I do to the people who are in that space, I don't think it really matters. They're like, some people have spent so much money on just fucking bullshit and getting no results. And I just it's like even my Instagram, like I don't really want to post myself. I'm like, here's my clients. The clients that are cool with me sharing their shit. Dude, you should see the ones I don't. I mean, it's bananas, bro. Like, so I don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's, yeah, so I brought up that Ikigai thing, and I wanted to touch on something else. So the Ikigai thing, like, is it your passion?
For the people who don't know, can you explain Ikigai real quick?
Yeah.
A little bit more in-depthly.
Yeah, so it's, what is your passion? Is it of value? And can you make money? Can it be prosperous?
It's all together. It's the intersection point of all three.
Yes. And if you can like Venn diagram those three things and then be like really, and that's what I realized. I mean, back in the day, I brought up like, smuggling drugs and doing bullshit like that. I go, that's not something I'm proud of. But when I was younger, I was like, I remember telling my mom, I'm like, I'm constantly dancing with the devil. And she's like, what does that mean? And it was just like, I'm like, there's got to be something else. And then it was weird. I just realized, I'm like, you're not doing anything for anyone else, dude. And then I was like, well, I work in retail and I'm a circle. And I go, you're not doing any. And I was like, align yourself with
This is your conversation with yourself?
Yeah, man. It was like, I was like, no wonder you're. Look, most of us males, we're going to deal with depression, especially if you get older and stuff. Why do
you say that?
Well, it's because we lose. So I don't have a family, but I have a lot of purpose and reason. So I got a lot of friends in my space who don't have family, but they don't have reason and purpose, and they're fucking tripping. Then I've got other friends who got lots of family and no reason or purpose, and they're tripping. You see what and it's like
this smaller versions of Ikigai in every aspect of life.
Something, man. I mean, it's just like for us males, it's like, if you take a male and put him in unemployment and make him just, it's
you go crazy.
Yeah, it's like we lose our reason, we lose our purpose. Give us
a direction.
Yeah, have something that's like
work towards, grow.
Purpose. So what's really interesting.
And you could choose it.
Yeah, well, I call that, I ask people, I go, what's the imperative? I'm like, what do you mean imperative? I go, duty. What's your duty? So for me, right, like my duty is like, I get to be your friend, right? And maybe I might even be a coach in the future. I make a shit ton of money, be like, Dylan, I'm hiring you. Like, I don't know. Or I could just be a solid dude that you met around the way and we support each other. Or I'm a guy who talks shit and I say, hey, do better. And then how can I help you?
100%.
It's the bottom line is like, this is an hourglass, reality that we're all living. And it's a guy that's over 50 now and creeping up. It's like, it's pretty radical, dude. Like the cognitive dissonance of, and then the value of being a male living in LA, it's like, it's like, why don't I have a house? Why don't I have, like, it's wild, dude. Like you can, so the dealing with the pangs and throes of inadequacy,
sure.
But then I also look at it and I'm like pretty hyped on my shit. Like I'm not gonna lie, we live in a town where it's a lot of freedom or freedom.
Yeah.
What side are you on?
Yeah.
But so what I was gonna say though is, last point regarding the Ikigai was there's this guy, Immanuel Kant, philosopher, right?
I've never heard of that guy.
Oh, dude, he's like, so it's called it's like, I think it's the Immaculate Concept. And basically this one is really like what got me, because, dude, man, you got people, we all sit up here and be like, yeah, I've really been into like, like this and that. And it's like, fuck off, dude. Like, don't, like, Brad, save it. Like, what's really going on with you? And so for me, it's like, I was just a little slim shady, cheater, thief, and liar, back in the day when I was a little kid. And I was like, when do I get away from this? Like, what's going to be the thing? So it's like, okay, I'm a practicing Buddhist. Oh, now I'm wholesome and good. Okay, I got baptized Christian. Now I'm going to be. None of that shit worked, man. And it's like, the only thing.
Why not?
Well, it's not that it it's not that it didn't work. It's that it didn't work. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's like you got everything you wanted to understand and learn out of that, but it wasn't the thing that you needed.
Well, so back to this Immanuel Kant thing, what I realize is like, it's the most important thing. So all of us, if you've mentored anyone, right? And it's like, I love it. You know, so I work with teens with eating disorders. You know, I've got clients that are older than me and significantly more successful, but we kind of mentor them, right? You know that. And
I think it's very powerful mentoring people. I have one kid specifically, I've been training him since he's 13.
Wow.
He's 21.
Go ahead. And to see that curve of like,
becoming a man, and like you have your input, you helped him out, like build muscle, ask his first girlfriend out, like that shit. Like it's super selfish on my end too.
well, no, it's that validation arc of like supporting like old wolf, young wolf. Like it's kind of how I feel with you. It's like, even though we're in parity and it's, but you know, so back to this Immanuel Kant thing, I was like, okay, so let me slow down. So if this is like, it's in German and I'm translating it, I'm Dylanizing it, but it's like, if what you do, if it was universal, would it be good? How you shit, how you breathe, how you think, how you walk, how you park the car, how you interact with people.
I mean, that's the whole thing of how you do anything, so you do everything.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's like it's almost, so with that statement, because he has like, I think it's like, he has one that is one aspect of one that's other. And naturally, I mean, look, we all have confirmation bias. I just found it attractive, but I was like, whoa. So like when I was a kid, I used to always think my granddad, when he died, I was like, well, he's up there watching me. I had this weird, like, you know, it's like, if everyone was watching you, like, how do you keep yourself honest? Like, so this is what made me into like a much better golfer. I play the shot.
Then we should golf sometime.
Yeah, oh, fuck, dude, we're out there, bro.
I grew up with, that was my first love. I grew up with Bryson DeChambeau.
Oh, no way. So,
we came up with the same length golf clubs.
Bro, this is wild, bro. So I have on my phone, I just worked with the performance coach, and he also works with Bryson for the Ryder Cup in Rome.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, the performance coach was my client.
What,
yeah, Jim.
What's the company?
I don't know, but yeah, Jim is an awesome guy. He's like, yeah, I worked with him, and yeah, so I mean, he was the performance coach for, shout out to Ryan Dodd, who's this guy. He's like the Michael Jordan in water ski jumping.
Okay,
bro, have you ever seen this?
No.
Okay, y'all gotta go check this out. So he ski nautique, he's that guy. So in the water ski world, they have ski jumping. So they basically hit a jump, and it's like, so Ryan Dodd, out of Florida, he's Canadian, but he lives here in the U.S., and he is the 5-time world champ, biannual. He is also owns the world record of 246 feet. It's just gnarly, man.
In terms of the jumps?
Yeah, so like, so working with him, so we won his last world title. I was fortunate to be part of his team, and I did all of his nutrition and stuff. So yeah, we got another world champs coming up. I think I'm working with him. I haven't talked to him in a minute, but he's been
working with all these professional athletes and pros in their specific craft. If that's like an actor, if that is a race car driver, if that's whatever. What characteristics do they have that are like all similar? Like, what do they have that the average human being doesn't?
Consistency, kind of like, well, I don't know how to describe it. So like we mutually know like Alexis DeJoria, right? You're going to be interviewing her. I worked with her. Awesome. What's up, Alexis? And then working with the guys, I work with guys in NASCAR. I can never say it right. It's a Red Bull Global Rallycross. I worked with blah, blah, blah. And I would say, gosh, you know what it really is the win. That's the most, because it's like, consistency might not be the case. Like,
there's a lot of people who are pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's weird. The consistency thing though comes in a frequency. So for like instance, me, I'm like the most consistent guy I know, but it also makes my life boring and weird in a weird way, right? And then there's other people who are like, so for instance, Ryan Dodd, he's the gnarliest family guy. He has such a beautiful family, but he's got he's probably got several coaches. His focus is so consistent. It's a little bit flighty, but his consistency and the essence is all built. I want to win. I mean, that dude's, but all of them, same with Alexis. Like, she's just like, it's the drive to win. And so the tools and analogs that they use to get there. So like being in Malibu training with Alexis, running sprints up the driveway at her house. And it's like, their driveway is like fucking 200 vertical feet incline, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's the common thread is like, they're in it. And I love that because
where do you think that drive comes from?
Who knows? I mean, there's some, there's the FOX3 gene and the COMT gene. There's these different genes of the warrior versus a warrior, like a person who's, I know that's something that I'm really thankful for. Like, lately we had the fires here in LA, like my work got pretty devastated because of the fires. And when my chips are down, I'm like, fuck you, dude, let's go. Like, sleep might be shitty, but I wake up and I'm like, fuck off, let's go, Dylan. Let's go. No one cares, bro.
No one cares.
Self-rescue, no one's coming. And it's really, thank goodness to parents, God, nature, higher power, whatever it is, that I got that, because I'm just like, nah, fuck off, let's go. Like, and that's, I think there's a subset or something that's built in all of them. The actor things are a little bit weird. I mean, they're all amazing, but it's all, when I say weird, it just means weird by delta, by difference. They're just, the bottom line is like, we're either accommodating a daddy issue or ego or glory, right? And honestly, hey, blessings to you, man. It doesn't matter which one it is. It's like,
And clearly they've learned a lot from you because they've got the results.
I like to think so,
What do you think that you have learned from them?
Well, I mean, not to sound corny, I mean, it's just gratitude. I mean, I know how much you love your work. I mean, it's just insane. The conversations I'm having and the people that I might be working with, it's just, I'm so amped, bro. I'm so frothed. I mean, there's like, I got Chris Gallagher on the world tour. I mean, it's just the amount of coaches and practitioners and doctors I've got to work with is really humbling, because like, you nailed it, dude. How's a dropout from fucking, high school end up working with these people? And I just,
what are your study habits like, bro? Because to retain all this information and to be an expert and speak confidently on these very complex systems of the body, a lot of people are going to be checking the work, and what is it like to study, and what's your process to download all this information to your brain with the 17 concussions that you have, knowing that like it's not going to stop you from downloading this information?
Honestly, don't be full of shit. Like, a lot of people say things like, for instance, like we see, what's her name? Dr. Casey Means, right? She just came out and saying all this stuff, and she's rad, but we'll align ourselves to like mechanisms and bullshit. First off, that's one thing, but the subset of that is like, are your fundamental facts basic? So to answer your question, there's three things. I've broken it down into three things. First off is, and this should be of interest to anyone, because who wants to understand this? The first thing is basic science. I've broken it down into three things. So basic science is like cellular energy, cells, mitochondria, right? That stuff, it's 11th grade biology.
Maybe 7th grade, 8th grade.
Yeah, exactly. No, literally, like it's that fundamental, but it can go up.
Yeah.
So first we've got like basic science.
But the amount of people who can't explain 7th grade biology is most of those people.
Golgi tendon organelles and lysosomes. I mean, that shit, I never thought in all my days that like, so the lysosome and
I haven't heard lysosome in so long.
Yeah,
I haven't even heard that word since 7th grade.
But autophagy, that's what happens. It's a lysosome that eats it. I mean, so all of that stuff, so that's basic science, right? So just cellular function, bioenergetics, that's really what it is, the science of cellular function. The second one is nutritional science. This is the Atwater method. So this is where they do what's called a bomb calorimetry, which was known as the Atwater method. And they basically, they burn everything and they come up with a calorie for it.
Yeah.
So that's understanding calorie in, calorie out. Then the last one, and this is the motherfucker, and this is the one that's got me really interested, is, this was studying neuroendocrinology. So this is the hormones of the brain being triggered by and that is food science, man. And so those three things, basic science, nutritional science, and then food science. Yeah, there's a distinction. So nutritional science is the study of but food science, I don't hear anyone fucking with that, man. And so that goes back to the hedonics.
That's funny that you say that. So I have a friend who just completed his first 100-mile marathon, ultra marathon.
Savage.
He failed a few times to get there, and he switched from a carb heavy, which is super popular in the running space, to straight keto
Yep.
to a ketogenic lifestyle, like you said, which I
Wow.
found it ironic.
Yeah, so back to like, before we're jumping around, but the Angus Barbieri thing. So what I was going to say earlier is our body is always eating. Okay, so if we're eating non-protein energy foods from carbs and sugar because of the Randall cycle, it's gonna jump on that. And when that programming is so consistent, the body will get rutted into it. So this is why I tell people, like, when you're trying to gain muscle or you're trying to lose fat, it's a negotiation. So the negotiation, like if your brain's being a grumpy bitch and it's just telling you you're hungry, that negotiation's not going that well, right? So it's an interesting thing. So if you coax the body, so for instance, right now, if we were at my crib, I would hand you little hits of salmon, just little ones with little croquettes, and the croquettes would be really crunchy, and you'd be like, and you just small ones, and I give you probably like 150 calories of it, and then I bring you out a big tumbler of soda water, like grapefruit soda water, because it's got a sharp hit, and I would put 2 ounces of sugar-free Kroger lemonade in it.
Sure.
That tastes like syrup, bro. It's so sweet. So what happened? Salty, fatty, crunchy, and sweet. I just hit 4 of the palate continents on your tongue. And so that language from your tongue to your brain, it just goes, hey, I just got forbidden food.
That's interesting. So right now in my diet,
I'm excited we're talking about this because I was hoping like, yeah.
Oh, I get super satiated from cold pineapple.
Interesting, okay.
It's super sweet. It's a little bit crunchy type of deal.
Well, the hedonics are there, but also...
but I don't know
but
if
the
it's
fiber content, if you look
Yeah.
up... So fiber is really... This is... not to cut you off, but like fiber is really, really... Is such a... I call it the fourth macronutrient, and people give me shit, but it's like... It's such a dynamic, unspoken... so for you, for instance, it would be like high bolus amounts. Bolus means nutritional dose of proteins. I would have you on like good amounts of fiber. And then frankly, I would have you doing hedonics. So this is what's crazy. You're like, hedonics, what's that? Every night we have hedonia. So all of my clients, where's your hedonia? If you're not hungry, you don't eat. But so it's blueberries with a little creme, half and half rather, cinnamon. I'll take dark chocolate. Normally, most of the days, and I walk 225, I walk around 10% body fat. I'm snacking on dark chocolate most of the day. And it's like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? How do you look like? And I'm like, calorie restriction, our bodies are adapted and dynamic. If your body is in an absolute state of getting no energy in, that negotiation is tripping. That body's gonna get grumpy. Another thing too, muscle protein synthesis. Unless you're taking gear or you're eating in a very, very templated way, you're promoting being catabolic. So again, back to the negotiation, circulating amino acids. Oh, I broke the fast. Okay, that doesn't matter because we know that calorie restriction is even better than calorie restriction is better than fasting or intermittent fasting. At least the data, the consensus of data is suggesting that. So, but yeah, man, it's like this. You've got a grumpy bitch in your brain that wants foods, that's surrounded by hyperpalatability, tasty, hyper-availability, it's everywhere. How do you do that? It's like, so I call it being Portugal. So that metaphor, anyone knows that Portugal, excuse me, I think this was back in like late 1990s, they legalized drugs. We're all drug addicts, dude.
Yeah.
Put me around McDonald's French fries. Yeah, so, but we can go on discipline. And I say I don't want that. But the truth is, so the Portugal metaphor is like, so instead of us sitting there and go, well, I've got cravings, or when they come up, no, you don't. They're there. It's just moved around. It's like a chess piece that got kind of moved around the board or some shit. Like,
And you can substitute them.
yeah, well, that's what you do. So this is where I've taken like
the thing is that the reason I'm saying that like pineapple, blueberries, a little bit of cinnamon, and a dash of honey tastes like ice cream to me now, to my brain.
So what I would do there, frankly, is I would lose the honey because it's just a glycemic response. So let's understand this. The brain, okay, so a big trigger for cravings is through the brain. And let's understand that the brain runs 100% on glucose, okay? So one of the problems is, they say type 3 diabetes, blah, 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 is Alzheimer's. Our glucose metabolism in the brain is something goes awry when we have this like dementive condition. So in a lifestyle thing, what I tell people is if we're being smart, all of us are ketogenic. When we go to sleep, we go into ketosis in our sleep. Marginal, but we do produce ketone bodies. Our brain, when our brain is taking in about a third of ketone bodies, because they can circulate through the brain-blood barrier, it is remarkable, dude. I cannot tell you like how good that I feel. I cannot tell you how like I mean, I shouldn't talk about myself because naturally I'm in confirmation bias, but the word acuity, idea formulation, the mood regulation, it's like, I mean, I know that I sound like a victim with these concussions. I wasn't like some tripped out guy. It was just super intense. So, the thing is that the GI function, the recovery, no one talks about this, dude. The way that we do this thing called glycogen sparing, that basically is really interesting for people who are quote unquote fat adapted. You would probably smoke me like in a workout. Like I can't, glycolytically, I can't go. But if we went surfing or you did something, you'd be like, I'm sitting there and having my coffee and I'm taking my plugs of sodium. And then I sit there and I pull out about 20 grams of maltodextrin. And you're like, what the fuck is that, dude?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, so here's a scoop. So in the spectrum of carbohydrate, we go from like resistant starch all the way to maltodextrin, right? So that's carbohydrate and from like A to B. Speed of, right? Resistant starch are slow, and then maltodextrin super fast. So if I gave you maltodextrin right now, that would be so fast acting, you would put it in your mouth and it would immediately go into your bloodstream through the function of amylase and such. So it would bypass your liver. Okay, so this is why I talk about timing, sequencing, and then most importantly, utilization. So what happens is the timing is you take that maltodextrin 5 to 8 minutes before performative work, then you go do work. And what happens is now I've got all of this like exposed glucose circulating around for my muscles to utilize. Now, because I'm because I'm ketogenic, that glycolysis, that glycolytic exposure, my insulin levels are going to go through the roof. So now my cells are going to open up because insulin is an energy storing hormone. So it opens up cells. So now all that glucose is going to go into my cells and like this kind of like almost a PED manifestation. So when I go to the track and I do sprints, it's fucking wild, bro. It is a veritable PED in a weird nutritional sense. And actually, if anyone wants to look it up, it's called a targeted ketogenic diet or a TKD. And it's basically using bolus amounts of carbohydrate, fruit, or sugar right before you do something that's high output. So for instance, like I said, in CrossFit workouts, I suck. But if
You used to do a lot of CrossFit though.
Yeah, I still do. I mean, philosophically, it's been intrinsically, like my whole life has benefited from it. And actually, I was just, funny enough, I was up in Malibu with Coach Glassman. He was doing a new, you know what, dude? Next time anything like that happens, I'm gonna reach out to you.
Hit me up.
But yeah, he was up there talking about his thing called MedFix, and it's like it's the Broken Science Initiative, and it's kind of cool. It was a little bit goofy, but basically he's there. CrossFit and his deal is kind of like, I mean, it's done, dude. It's not for sales. I mean, CrossFit's just become a High Rocks is cool.
High Rocks is big now.
Yeah, and shout out to my boy Hunter McIntyre. He's like the world champ. I was on actually the podcast you might have listened to. Hunter might have been on that, but yeah, that stuff's wild. They all want me to do it. I'm like, no, I'll suffer on the sidelines. But yeah, no, I was up there, and so Coach Glassman has a new thing that he's focused on, which is MedFix, which is metabolic, repairing. I think he's a little bit late to the party, and I think the language is a little bit late, especially given the semaglutide and all the drugs now. But anyways.
What's your diet like right now on a day-to-day?
My diet is, gosh, you know what? I mean, to be honest, it's like, it could be a little bit better, but better could be like, it's pretty sound. I mean, so for myself, actually, and I wanted to mention this, Arthur Devaney. Okay, you need this dude, if you're not familiar with him, highly recommended. He said he's like the godfather of like the paleo movement.
Sure.
This guy was fascinating. I believe he has I think he's got a Nobel Prize in economics.
Sick.
Yeah, but he did this he got it on a study and a dissertation on the economics of Hollywood. Dude is fascinating.
That's crazy.
He was back in like the 60s where you saw him, and it's like where you think of like that, what is it, like that, Rock Hudson, like gnarly looking dude. That was him, bro, ripped and shredded. But he's still around now, but he is his information and his research was one of the things back in like 2009, 10. And so anyways, he has a theory where it's like always be a little bit hungry, lift medium weights in intensity, and drink good wine. And I think he mentioned something about having a pretty wife or a girlfriend, but no, that
sounds pretty nice. I'll take all four of those.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, no, agreed. But I've always embraced, so back to what you said is like, I've always, my final position on it and where I hold myself, because, you know, if you're not going to hold the standard for yourself, you can't hold it for other people.
Yeah. And they shouldn't listen to you.
Yeah, well, yeah, people are going to do what they do. But for me, it's chronic body recomposition. So in my work, I'm a body recomp coach. You know, it's like, and what is that? You know, most of us, when we diet or lose weight, we lose a majority of muscle with a small part of fat. And it's usually by a ratio of like 8 to 2. What I do with my clients is the opposite. You know, we maintain spare muscle tissue and helping the body negotiate and focus on losing that fat. And that's, it's kind of like a little bit of the holy grail and like weight loss.
Yeah.
But the irony is, it's like, this is actually a side effect of me kind of designing, and again, not designing, but like, or designing my sense of technique to eating. So, you know, what would that be? Timing, when do you eat? Sequencing relative to what is it? And then is it utilized? And so, and I'll quickly circle around, how do we quantify that? We use a blood glucometer. And that's...
You're the first coach that I've ever heard talk about using a blood glucometer. So, I guess put the emphasis on it so much.
Well, yeah, first off, it's not just a blood glucometer, but it's also a ketometer. So I can read your fatty acid oxidation out of your liver at the same time. So there's a correlation between your blood glucose and your ketone bodies that are present.
Before you continue on that, I have a buddy who is pretty young and he's suffering from fatty liver disease. And I told him I was going to talk to you today.
Yeah.
And I was, if for anybody out there who's suffering from a fatty liver disease, what would you recommend and what would you...
Okay, great. So first off, let's understand. So they've changed it now. It's called MSALD. So it's metabolic syndrome something. So typically in the past, before it was called NASH, which is non-alcoholic steatotic hepatosis or whatever, or non-alcoholic hepatic steatosis. So let's kind of try to understand, what does that mean? First off, any one of us, if we're carrying midline adiposity or we're fat, and I mean fat in a nice way, you have a fatty liver. Your liver's gunned up. And let's quickly distill how. Your bloodstream can assume a circulation of 5 grams of sugar. After that, insulin turns on and it gets put into the adipose and into the system. Your muscle glycogen, okay, that muscle, it's anywhere from 300 to 500 grams, depending on the human. And then the last one is like your liver, and that can be like 50 to 75. I mean, the numbers can vary slightly, of amount of stored energy that can put into those 3 battery tanks. Okay, so the first one is circulation and bloodstream. That one is really interesting because we can monitor that in real time. Blood glucometer. The ketone bodies, what does that tell us? Ketone bodies are basically fatty acids that have been broken down in the liver and sent out into the serum, okay, serum or in the plasma, into the bloodstream. This particular meter, we can also read that. So the deal is, so for your friend, the deal is, what happens? If you think about, if we sat there and like every year, we just simply painted your apartment without stripping the paint off the wall. So imagine we're in like this dope Hollywood apartment, right? And we have this beautiful Baroque trim, you know, it's like in the corners. And we just keep painting over and over it. What happens is that relief or that beautiful Baroque, you know, those...
It's going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. So it suddenly just gets painted over. So what happens is the way that we eat, and this is why my focus is not on calories, but is on non-protein energy foods.
Which are?
Well, this is, which is carbs and fat. So the deal is that the technique that I teach is how I teach people how to see food through the lens of energy to protein. That we simply, our bodies have become energy toxic. Okay, so for instance, back to your homie. So he's gummed up. He's probably got a bit of midline adiposity. He just
lost like 25 pounds.
Okay, well, awesome. But let's just keep it like, so he's lost 25 pounds, but let's say he had like midline adiposity. He had a little bit of like, you know, male breast tissue, like moobie, you know, arms, got a little bit of shape, but the arms are a little bit soft. Legs are a little bit twiggy, got some glutes, but not a lot. So with that, it's like, well, what do we call that? We call that dad bod. Okay, so the first thing is like, well, that is a byproduct of these paint layers just getting applied. And it's like, well, when? And I go, when? Every time you eat. And it's like, well, what should I eat? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, fuck you, dude. Like, and you bill how much? And I go, well, I don't know, but your meter does. And it's like, oh, hold on a second. What Dylan says, okay, I'm a witch with telling you calories. I can guesstimate, tell you foods to eat. We don't care about that. This is like training, dude. People are like, well, what should I do? And I go,
Something.
hold on. No. What do you do?
Yeah.
Let's start there, because people always talk about what they should do. No, what do you do?
Yeah.
So what I do, so it's a 6-week program. First 2 weeks, they're just sending me photos. Okay. First 3-4 days, I see what they're eating. I'm like, okay, so I've got a calorie build in my head. So I get measurements off them. So I've got a basic metabolic rate. So that's like, if they're eating below that, they're gaining weight.
Yeah.
Most of my clients are gaining weight because they undereat, which is gnarly. So last part is like, so I get intake of their stuff, and then we get the glucometer, and I teach them how to use that. And I said, okay, you're going to keep eating your normal foods. But then, so Miriam, awesome chick, dude. She is stunning. Looks like a fucking model, dude. Like she's like my other client's fiance or girlfriend. Bro, she's up in Mammoth right now. She's just eating her foods, 225, 210. And you're like, what is that? Those are numbers. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. We just got her fasting insulin. So, and actually, I got to go back to this. Pathologic, the HOMA-IR, there's 2 types of insulin reception. And one is physiologic insulin reception, and one is pathological. And I apologize for not finishing that point. If you have pathological insulin reception, you are sick, okay? When you wake up, and so like in your case, say that we do program and I show you this stuff, you come back and you're like, bro, my numbers are through the roof. And I'm like, yeah, what'd you do? And you're like, dude, I'm fasted and I just worked out. And I go, okay, well, your insulin, if it's around 3 or 4, below 6, you're great. That is called physiologic insulin reception. So this is where the body turns around and accommodates those 3 obligate needs. So in the morning, typically after sex, and typically after exercise, your blood glucose goes through the roof. Why? Generally in a fasted state, and your body requires energy.
Yeah.
That's why you hear the trope of like, well, we don't require energy, or we don't require sugar or glucose. Absolutely false. You require glucose, but you don't require sugar. And matter of fact, you don't require glucose because your body will take a glycerol backbone of amino acids in your muscles, rips it off the muscle, breaks it down, and turns it into, an amino acid, and then turns it into glucose through this weird, it's like, by the way, I mean, I don't want to sound like I know everything. I try to keep down the mechanisms down to the layman terms, but a lot of these things are like, it's like, fuck, dude, we live in a house. I'm not a plumber, but you better believe I have a fundamental sense of the plumbing. Am I an electrician? No. But if the lights go out, I'm going to go to the fuse board, and I have to have a fundamental, and this is the last part with it is like, when I work with people, I really try, and they're like, dude, you're too technical, or I don't know what you're saying. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, level up. Like,
do a Google search.
Well, thank you. And then also make it matter, because the thing is for instance, when I say like bolus, and it's like, why do you use these geeky terms? Because if you sit down with your doctor and you use these terms, you are speaking authentically and accurately.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something.
They take you seriously.
They believe it, dude. Like, I go in there and it's like, I'll have all my shit laid out, and I'll be like, this is
you did your homework.
Yeah, man. And it's like, so anyways.
Well,
I mean,
you
like,
self-proclaim yourself as an autodidactic. You learned all this on your own.
Yeah.
Right. And what inspired you to do that, bro? Because there's so many people, especially I would say like 50-year-olds, like who would kill for your body, would kill for the ability to do what you have done for yourself and others, and where does that like come from?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm a competitor, and I'm a mediocre one. Or no. How do I say that?
I don't know. I think you got to give yourself your flowers there, bro.
I'm unsatisfied, period. I don't care how well I do. I'm unsatisfied. And the most important thing, though, is I really want the people I get to work with and what I do, I want to honor them with like really, really good work. And so for me, it's like, that's my imperative, which means duty. And, back to that canteen thing.
If it's worth doing, it's worth doing well.
Or fuck off, don't do it. Like, and for me, it's like, I'm super competitive. I'm not going to lie. I want to be a better trainer than you. And you're really good, so I better be good.
Yes, sir.
Like, Dr. Phil, I mean, I got into this because Phil Goglia, who's the best, I saw what he was doing. He's working with my clients, and I'm like, he's not that good.
Yeah.
By the way, respect to him, but he's not. Like, and I was just like,
well, even giving you your flowers now too. Like, the reason why I wanted to talk to you for all these years and explain it's because like I seen your stuff on Instagram and how you break it down into like such a understandable yet digestible level. I mean,
thank you.
Like intricate and like super scientific but digestible level. And I'm really good at the practical stuff of like weightlifting. I'll teach you how to deadlift properly, bench press properly, all that stuff from kettlebell cleans, snatches, like all that stuff. Like that's my bread and butter. But then when I hear you talking about like that's only one of the 5 whatevers, you know, I'm like, oh, there's more to this like game, you know? And I'm like, oh, it's inspiring to like want to learn and talk to you about, you know?
Oh, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that. Well, you know, the thing is I'll always say be a guest, but also be a student. And like, I mean, so leptin and ghrelin, right? I mean, leptin wasn't in the research till 1997. It wasn't in the literature till 2002, I believe. Like, you know, the Angus Barbieri thing, that happened in 1969, but it wasn't really prevalent in the literature till like the late 80s.
Yeah.
So also another thing too is like, you know, now we're in the days of like chat GBT and stuff, and it's like, I just want to be really notable at what I do. You know, like I don't want to fuck around. I don't care if anyone knows my name. I mean, even this, talking and being on this is super awkward. I don't like how I sound. I don't like how I look. But
you look great and sound great, bro.
Oh, thanks, man. But yeah, even as an athlete, when I had a pro model, it was weird. It's like I had them put on, you know, designed by D. Farr. I didn't even have my name on there. And they're like, what? Because I was practicing Buddhist and I'm like, it's not about me.
Yeah.
But then I get in the thing and it's be like, okay, they didn't expect me. I almost get emo about it. It's like, none of you motherfuckers expected me. I've trained. Like,
that's the whole thing about Buddhism, though. Life is suffering, though.
Well, but I mean, it's like, I mean, I go home and just talking about me gets me fucking amped. I'm just like, I'm gonna go home and train, and no one's gonna know about it. No one's gonna see. I ain't posting about it. I ain't fucking doing shit. I'm gonna eat so good that tomorrow I wake up and it's like, Nate, the next time you see me, I hope I look better. A matter of fact, hope is for people in the hospital. I don't have to hope. I will be better.
Yes, sir.
And it's like, so that kind of like sensibility of holding myself to that standard is like, it's gnarly, dude. At my age,
how does someone develop that?
Fear. I don't know where else it comes from. I mean, look, dude, like fear of your dad not being stoked on you, fear of being clowned by your friends, or fear of coming up short. I don't know, dude. But fear's not a bad thing. Fear is what it makes us survive. You know, it's interesting because a logic that I have underneath is that we are designed to hunt, kill, and fuck as males. So we're designed to walk 25 miles a day and to kill animals the size of small houses. So most of us that deal with male depression, I mean, I know you're a young lad, but it's like I always talk about like male depression because it's affected me and it's affected a lot of my peers. Or it's the fear of like, again, purpose, and it's like self-rescue, no one's coming, and not feeling sorry for yourself and realizing that it's kind of weird, but like we have to own that we're impressing someone. We have to own that that we have a duty to inspire people, that we don't even know. But it's funny, we all walk around trying to impress people that give zero fucks about us. But I don't know, man, it's just weird. It's like I said, I don't have kids, maybe will in the future, but it's like, it's funny. Look, I got like all these, but back then we had magazines, right? And the coolest thing I ever got out of my career was a little cutout in the back, and it said, I couldn't believe it. I met Dylan Farr. It was aborting for breast cancer, and some kid wrote into Heckler magazine. It was like a zine, and he said, I couldn't believe I met him. He was such a nice, down to earth, cool guy. Like, and I was like, that's it. Like, I just didn't want to be known as being a cunt, because it's like we're all cunts, but it's like, but I just didn't. And so for me,
so that was important to you. That was a good feeling.
Well, that was like, to be honest with you, that's more. I love the covers. I love sending it. I mean, to this day, dude. Even talking about it, it's like, let's go. Yeah. Let's do this. Like, but not in like, I'm not competing against you. I'm competing with you. But yeah, so things like that were really important to me because, seeing the industry, that my father's industry, the music industry, and growing up around all that talent, and like, I think that was probably the biggest reason that I kind of turned my back on all that stuff. Was just, it's wild, bro. It's wild when you grow up in the rock and roll industry like I did. I mean, my dad was on the road with Led Zeppelin, and the first pool, I got swim lessons in Roger Waters' pool in London.
That's crazy.
But again, without sounding like, I don't want to sound like contrite or trite, but growing up around that stuff was wild, dude. And it's like, it's just cool. We're all cool, dude. Like,
I wanted to talk to you about dopamine a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bodybuilders or racers, or you name the sport, and they do the thing.
Oh,
and then after they complete it, they win it, whatever, they go into this like depression.
Yep.
Or after probably being on the top of the world on the front of the cover of that snowboarding magazine or whatever,
Yep.
I don't know, you might have had a low after that. Why is that? Why do you think all these athletes have a depression after a huge feat? Like my buddy, he was talking about his 100-mile race and he's like, oh, what do I do now? Like,
Did he get depressed afterwards?
he did for his 50 and he did for his like 70, but after this 100, he didn't.
Bro, I would come back from Europe. So I competed in World Cup half pipe. So that's, half pipes. It's like, and I would come back from Europe.
That's just scary, bro.
Yeah.
It's so cool that you did that.
Well, it's all scary, dude. Like, but that's the thing, man. It's like, you're scared. It's like, fuck, it was, yesterday was D-Day, right?
Yeah.
Scared.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that ain't, like, but anyways, where was I? Like, so sorry, what was
World
the point?
Cup half pipe, the fear of, the depressive feeling after you
Oh
accomplish.
yeah. Oh, so this is actually really interesting. It's called hyperdopagenicity.
Okay.
So people like me, who, I'm always turned on. I feel like I'm going to get murdered all the time. I walk around. I call it competitor's anxiety.
Do you really feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's like some of us have anxiety, but it's not a bad thing, dude. Again, I'm designed to hunt, kill, and fuck.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to kill something the size of a small house. That's why oftentimes when I try to make myself of service to people with mental health, dealing with tribulations there. And the bottom line is like depression or a radar detector. So hear me out. So I'm designed. So the first thing a person who is maybe dealing with bipolar or depression or anything like that, the first trope of symptomology is what? Is isolation. Leave me alone. Fuck off. Okay. If an organism is walking around bipedal, its genitals are hanging. The stomach is exposed. The rib cage is short. Most other mammals have a long rib cage that covers all the guts. So I'm walking around with my ability to proliferate being exposed, can be gnashed or ripped off by something clawed or toothed. My expression of absolute energy is between 8 and 12 seconds, and that's fleeing, and then secondly, orally screaming. So that usually would create like a shock or a fear, but that's not. We are built actually not to survive. It is until if you take you and me and a third of us, we're gonna fuck up some gorilla, dude. We're gonna fuck up some animal because there's 3 of us. We can articulate tools and such. But so the thing is, it's like understanding that, what would the evolutionary logic be behind most of us, and most of us males, and we don't talk about it, most of us got like some type of depression or we got some type of shit going on, especially as we get older, right? So why would we have that? Why is it consistent? Bottom line is we're supposed to have it. If you're sitting there and it's like, you go, well, you feel like you're gonna get murdered all the time. And I'm like, yeah. Like, why wouldn't you, dude? I gotta wear glasses. You know why I wear glasses? Because I'm sitting there fucking reading this, dude. My eyes aren't built to read this. My eyes are built to see 80 yards away, a black dot. It's called threat assessment. So it's hunt, kill, and fuck. And then back to that hunt, we ain't hunting. We go to the bodega. We go down to Costco. We go over to Air One with our girlfriends and like
$20 smoothies.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then kill. We're not killing anything. Yeah. We go to the grocers doing that. The store's done that. And then fuck.
Society has taken away all of the things that is necessary for men to succeed.
Well, women too. So the thing is, and then dating, it's like apps, swipe. So the sense of lyrics, congeniality, charisma, vibe, well, I'm not going to date anyone. So fuck, I'm not going to work out. Bro, how many of us guys like got our shit together and tried to work out and kill it because we think girls like it? Yeah. The truth is that they don't like it at all.
They don't like it at all,
You
bro.
go to West Hollywood, you get fucking more compliments than like anything, but
it's weird, right?
Yeah, so no one talks about that. Like, that's the weirdest thing, because I used to be a lot more port. And back then, I kind of got jocked. And now it's like great shoulders, great calves. And it's like, but it comes from a dude with a mustache.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Well, it's so funny. Like, I'm getting pretty shredded right now. And most of my comments and messages are all from like either jacked dudes, gay guys.
Yep.
And jacked dudes and gay guys. And the chicks are just friends.
Yeah, but it's weird. And then the women, it's what I've gotten a lot too, like, like dating with that is like, women get pretty insecure. I've actually had some really cool women. I'm like...
Insecure because you're so fit?
Well, I can't speak to what their interpretation
sure.
of me is, but literally told me, they're like, hey, because you work in that, it's like, it makes me think about my food too much. I've literally had 2 women like verbatim say the same thing. And I was like, wow, that's, but hey, look, blessings to y'all ladies. Like, look, you guys are fighting such a
Similar fight.
a private war. We're all fighting our private wars, but it's like being a female in this space and age and like.
Well, they should be way more scared.
Let me just.
In terms of, like you said, you're afraid that someone's gonna kill you, right? You're a big jacked guy.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, isn't that? Like, yeah, that's a weird. That's a great flip. That's interesting.
And most females are way smaller than you, and they have not the strength and ability to fight someone off.
Yeah, well, what's wild is I was just dating this one woman, and beautiful woman, by the way. I mean, like, really, like, so we kind of, everyone I interact with, we start talking about health and stuff, and it's like.
I mean, it's your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's my lifestyle. But dude, stage 2 obese, 100 and fucking, just around 190 pounds. And by the way, I look at her and just beautiful, right? But, and then suddenly start talking, yeah, my back hurts, and, my butt's so big now that it like hurts my lower back. And it's like, it's really, yeah, and I don't know if I'm hanging out with her and stuff, but it's like, it's really wild. And this is a woman who's in her mid-40s, and I'm just like, whoa. And, living off the benevolence of your looks and stuff. And it's like, it's pretty wild, bro. Like, and it's, and then the conversation regarding the drugs, the semaglutide and Ozempic. And it's like, I mean, by the way, I like how intense. And
are you a fan?
Yeah, I'm a fan of anything that's promotes health. I would say this though, that like, for instance, a study or, so I get a lot of journals, and I get like one of them's called Medscape. And so I've
heard of Medscape.
Yeah. They put out stuff that's like, anything that's notable in like the endocrinology specifically. So for me, metabolic syndrome, but they just came out a thing where they're literally recommending any woman that takes GLP-1s and GIPs that they get on birth control. And I was like, well, why? And I'm like reading it, and
what's the reasoning?
Because they don't know what's happening to the babies. I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Like, and it's wild because Eli, so this is a trippy one, dude. So Shell, right? So I'm all into my cars. I got to put in my Shell Nitro fucking V-Power, Shell is from the Netherlands, right? They're Dutch.
Are you talking about the gas?
Yeah,
okay.
Shell gas, right? It's Novo Nordisk, which developed, I'm pretty sure it's Novo Nordisk, they developed the semaglutide, the Ozempic and stuff. The gross domestic product of the Netherlands went up 6%.
Oh, shit.
Because of Ozempic and semaglutide. That country is where Shell's based out of, which is the world's biggest oil company.
Wow.
So that's the reason I brought up Shell. Like, how baffling is that? That there is not another drug on the planet that is like, so I mean, it's wild too, because in Europe, they don't sanction it off label at all. So like here, it's like, come here. Oh, you got an earache. Hey, can we give him, let's give him 20 units. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, so it's really, it's bananas. But the thing is though, so the good news is though, Nate, is that the one, for guys like us, I mean, look, we love what we do, but if the space and place no longer exists, we're out of work.
Yeah.
Right now, what's going on with understanding muscle protein synthesis, which is manufactured through true proxies, which is sufficient circulating amino acids, and exercise resistance training. Right now, dude, I have a feeling we're either about to get really popular or we're going to get put out of work.
I think it's leaning towards extremely popular.
I agree, because I, for one, just started training again. I haven't trained I stopped training. I just did nutrition work. But now, because of the Ozempic and the semaglutide thing, like, helping people lose, I mean, look, in 40 weeks per the test from Eli Lilly, which owns Novo Nordisk, it's 14 pounds in 40 weeks. In 6 weeks, I made people typically around 18 to 20 pounds.
Wow. You're beating it.
Yeah, so it's like, and then the thing is we don't have any of the gastric paralysis, the pancreatitis, the thyroiditis. But that being said, I have clients who are on it. And so, by the way, what's interesting for us is we are going to be pre-semaglutide and semaglutide. We were the first.
Yes.
And so shout out to my client, Mark. I mean, we took 60 pounds off him. I mean, he's a big boy, ripping surfer from Santa Cruz. And the last 20 pounds couldn't get off him. It was just, it wouldn't, you know, we tried different things. We tried, you know, cycling this and carb this and keto this and nothing worked, man. And it was ultimately semaglutide really helped him, you know, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know what to think about it, dude, because it's like.
What's your response to all the trainers out there or coaches who are, I guess, in fear of it?
That's ridiculous, dude. Because one, first off, most of our clients are going to be on it. So it's like, you better embrace it and you better fucking read up, but you better get your shit on point.
You better understand it.
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny because shout out to Lyle McDonald. He's a gnarly trainer. I don't know if you're familiar with Lyle, but he just wrote a bit of a treatise on the GLP-1s. And so you asked me earlier about studying. Bro, I study every fucking day, dude. Like, you know, it's like I wake up, I do my thing, and it's like, you know, it's kind of wild. It's like podcasts, you know, just for brain fodder. But then, and actually some of the podcasts I listen to are actually clinical. The IHMC is one, fantastic. But yeah, it's just, I try to take in information that is consistent and considerate with where I'm at. I don't need any more new information to be better at what I'm doing. What I do need to do, or rather want to do and need to do, is this, is to be able to slow down, be able to explain very, very complex things in simple, practical, and
digestible terms.
Absolutely, you just nailed it. Palatability. You know, I get amped, a bit of a voice on the phone. I mean, you know, you probably like, fuck, this dude's wild. Like,
well, the thing is, like, I just could hear your excitement for it, but I feel like you'll spit off so much knowledge in a minute that the other person, like, I listen a lot, right? So I have a good skill of like going back to certain points.
Yeah, I go off. I'm like a puppy. I'm like a puppy, bro. It sucks, dude. I can see people just be like, what the fuck did you say? And then I'm like.
Because I could definitely see that if I was someone who didn't listen a lot in terms of podcasting, a lot of it would go over my head.
Yeah, but so the thing is though, what's fascinating is like, oh gosh, I used to care so much about like, that's weird. You go out?
No?
Hello? Oh yeah. I used to worry so much about my patina and my aura. You know, kids call it aura, my vibe.
I mean, it's your characteristic though. It's your brand, bro.
Well, imagine I'm in that surf shop and I'm like that lit up with that much energy. And I go, by the way, this is
That's what attracted me to you too.
Yeah.
You were so excited about explaining all these suits too. I was like, oh, this guy knows the shit. And the thing is, marketing is everything. Marketing is everything. Like you don't trust people. Like, for example, like a trainer. I'm not going to work with a trainer who's not fit for me because I want to look like that guy, right? Regardless if that guy knows his shit or not scientifically, like I will still listen to him, right? Or a surf coach or a whatever. Like if you could surf the wave or like whatever like that, but you're not the most technically sound, I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah, you got to, you know, it's interesting. Like, well, that's on your arc. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm like talking and I reached out to you and it's like, we're talking and one of your upcoming guests is going to be probably one of the most prolific persons in my life as far as relationship, which is, you know, I'll allow you to mention it, but it's like to see people grow in their arc. Dude, first off, if you think you're the shit, be careful because the guy you're looking at and judging, he's going to lap you. I learned this as a professional athlete. You know, it's funny because working in that surf shop, right? Like, listen to it. Hey, bro, need some wax? Like, dude, I used to make a lot of money and I was like pretty significant pro snowboarder and people would know me from that time and space.
Yeah.
The way they would treat me back then was like really weird. And then to see how it changed in the surf shop. And so growing up under one of the gnarliest sportsmen in the world and then.
Yeah. How has those chapters been? What does it teach you about life from like being in the spotlight as like a young male?
Ego death. Ego, you nailed it. And well, here's the thing is like, so I just had the Guillermo del Toro thing come out with Antlers. I had the, A24 production with Warfare. That just dropped. Daredevil, all the shit. People think I'm some crazy like movie guy. Dude, no. Hey, Josh Brolin, I love you, bro. Thank you for being my friend. I met him in the surf shop.
Wow.
Having coffees, just like I met you, dude. And my mentors and all the people like I have no interest in like working with those people. I have interest in working with people, right?
That you like and you fuck with.
I'll fuck with anyone, dude. Like, you know, for every 5 clients I get, I try to mentor one who can't afford it, right? Like, but the bottom line is, another thing too, like working with actors and athletes and stuff, I'll tell you right now, it's pretty cunty. Like they don't give you credit. They treat you like you're the help, and that's okay. And that's okay. But it's the real success stories are I almost get emo. Christine, the librarian, this lady's lost 60 pounds, dude. She's walking. She swings a kettlebell now. She's 65. She's talking about dating. She went and got a new job.
Let's go.
She just got her citizenship to Italy. She wants to move.
Sheesh.
So we're talking about
Christine.
that straight up, dude. So it's like,
why do you think
that's what I'm saying is like, it's like people want to associate themselves to like, you know, I worked with a guy who's was number 2 to Howard Lutnick, who's Secretary of Commerce at Cantor Fitzgerald. Oh my God, dude, bro, stop. You know, the amazing stories are like, you know, my friend Carrie up in Oregon, I've been mentoring her for over 10 years. It's you, dude, around the way guy. Look at this shit, dude. Like, I mean, I'm so excited for you, dude. Like, it's just keep fucking going, man. And the thing is, it's like, you know, it's fall in love with the prescription, have one. What's the process? Yeah. You know, and then also another thing too, I always say like, you know, if the stimulus doesn't create an adaptation, it's not working. Adapt, improve, evolve.
Yeah, I always like the saying,
have fun with it.
AIO, adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Yeah. But the overcome thing is kind of interesting because it speaks like we're on this like tragedy of a journey, dude. I suppose that's like, we're all like, you know, this Joseph Campbellian, like, you know, power of myth. We're all following the hero's journey. But at the end of the day, man, it's like, it's pretty cool. So I'm so excited to see what you do with this. And like, you know, and also, I mean, shit, dude. So you're 40 days out.
43 days out.
You look fantastic, dude. So
Thanks,
it's like, it's really cool, man. But
what do you call it? For any advice before we close up, any advice for trainers out there, or I guess anyone who wants to do what you do? Like, how would you get into the space? What's the barrier to entry? How do you make a living off being a trainer, being a health coach, being a recomp coach? How do you do that? What are the first steps?
Know your lane. Know your lane and stay in it and then grow from there. I originally was an athlete. I was training at the Olympic Training Centers. I was training under Park Smalley and Tim Hatfield and Chris Seaman out of Winter Park. So my first toolbox was being an athlete. And then from there, I realized, well, what's the extension of me being an athlete? And I'm like, well, I've been coached. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? I go, well, I mean, Park Smalley's like, these guys are Tom Stites. I mean, that's a US Nordic ski team. That was a coach of mine. So to see the benevolence of where I've come from, the benefit of being so fortunate to having worked under them has given me an advantage because I've seen some great coaching grades. You know, by the way, to put context on it, when I went to that boarding school, I'd skied once. By the end of that year, I was on the national points listing. That's coach, crazy. Yeah, it was wild, dude. I mean, I got sent to this school for elite skiers, and I had only skied once. And my dad, you know, he had some money and had some lyrics. Yeah. So this kid from Malibu, like I thought skiing. Honestly, I didn't like skiing. I was like, it's cold, and like I just wanted to surf. And but the thing is, the parents were going through divorce. There's a lot of weird stuff in Malibu, and I'm like, I need to go to the opposite place. And so it was weird. It was like
cold in mountains versus hot.
Believe it, dude. Yeah. And I remember getting up to Steamboat and just being like, what in the sweet fuck is this? But that was my heart of darkness. You know, it was going into this rich, bougie kind of like thing, but it was almost like stripping away all of like my familial sensibilities. You know, if you've ever read like Joseph Campbell or Apocalypse Now, it's like I went into this really dark kind of like, I had to go through all the machinations of being so superficial and growing up with all this weird money and then going into this weird place and being like, okay, well, what do you amount to? Because right now you're just the extension of a student account. And
it's kind of like your own story of Buddha.
Yeah, well, basically I went to this place and the subtext with that is, I'll leave it at this, is my dad sent me there. He was in really hard financial straits. So he got me into the school, but there was never any money. So what happened is like, I mean, this is wild, but I literally spent 3.5 years there of just stealing gear at ski shops. Wow. And then coming back and selling it to the kids. So I had money to do laundry and do stuff. So my experience in that school was like this. By the way, when you say dropped out, that was high school. I didn't drop out by providence. My dad couldn't pay for the tuition. So they said, you're out, dude. We can't on academic probation because you're not good, you can't get a scholarship because you're not good enough. So what happened was when I got,
It's by coincidence.
well, when I dropped out, it wasn't by choice. Yeah. So I went back here in SoCal, I went to Calabasas, which is a high school out in, out on the west side of LA and stuff. And I went there, and that's when I was like, it was funny because I realized I'm like, there's no, attendance record. And I was like, well, dude, if I do all my schoolwork, so I would do all my schoolwork in 1 week and then take 2 weeks off.
Wow.
And it was like, then they caught wind of like, they're like, so I was the one that made the attendance record because I would just go surfing, and they're like, well, you have to be here. And I'm like, no, I don't. All my testing, everything was done.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you doing, dude? And I'm like, bro, I don't have to be here. I'm surfing. And it was like, so long story short, that didn't work out too well because then I got in trouble there. But what happened was that boarding school, my dad found better financial straits and stuff. My mom and him were getting on, and they were actually soon got back together and got remarried. And my dad was like, apparently a conversation had happened with the school, and the school had fired all of their staff and literally the entire student body, and they asked back like 4 students, and I was one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when I went back, they were like, hey, want to come back? And I was like, okay, so I need to redesign this thing to succeed because before I had failed. And I asked him for my own room, which was unheard of, and I asked him if I could have my car. So when I went back there, most of the people who had cars there were like on the US Nordic team or like elite. And I basically leveraged a deal, and I said, look, you had a lot of problems with me. I was always up to bullshit. And I said, I promise you right now, I go, if you guys honor me in this way, I will honor you back. I graduated on time, and I had 2 GEDs on the belt. I got most improved skier with the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, which is incredible because that's like one of
where was your mind switching to switch that 180 and put that effort in and become like a good kid, you know?
Well, so the thing was, I never was a bad kid. I just, not to be too personal, but I've got like I don't even know if to call it learning disorder, but I get stressed out and I get dyslexic. So I'll see shit and suddenly, like if any of you have texted me or worked with me, like you'll notice that I build things into like bullet points, everything. You know, I have so much going on in my brain. Like, I'm thinking about the tune on my Beamer and like, is the transmission tune good? Should I do the reduction percentage less while I'm talking to you? I'm thinking about the girl I went on the date with tonight. Like, it's fucking weird, like our brains, right? So for
How do you manage that?
Well, just that. I try to create a hierarchy of priority.
Yeah.
And then kind of have like partition my brain to work. And by the way, it's not a good thing. I think
I write everything down or else I forget. Like my brain's everywhere. So like I have like a yellow book, like yellow note beige book. And anytime any idea or thought or business plan or like clients, it looks like a fucking scratch book.
Well, notice in our conversational journey here, like how many times did you have to pull me back into the conversation? Because like one, I'm Welsh, dude. I love conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been so fun, but like also like my brain myelinates conversations. It just kind of myelinating is when
I think you also know so much about so many things that you just want to go into that direction.
Yeah, kind of. I find it a little bit. Yeah, it's annoying, frankly. And
does marijuana help with that?
Pardon?
Does marijuana help with that? I love smoking weed, by the way.
Yeah, no, I don't think it does. To be frank, I mean, like I don't drink, and I do use cannabis, but that's more of a
recreation.
No. It's more of like...
No, it's not.
No. My recreation's surfing, or my recreation's my cars.
So it's like medicine for you? Or...
Yeah, no, it's definitely... It's intense being so intense, right? And then I'm like also not that like ultra, like, how do I say this? It's like, I got the same shit that Michael Jordan has, but I don't own 1/1000th of his talent. You know, it's like, fuck, dude, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's what I've learned though. It's like I'm smiling saying it. It's not a burden. I used to think it was a burden. Now I'm like, you know, waking up and feeling insecure or feeling like you got to step up. Bro, I walk outside. I want to look at people and I'm like, did I see some guy driving by in his McLaren? What a fuck. I used to sit there and be like, fuck that guy. And I'm like, now I'm just like, bravo. You know, it's
inspiring.
Yeah.
Switching that lens to like, it's not like I'm envious of you. It's like I'm inspired by you.
Yeah. It's like he got his. I'm like, how? And I go, brother, come here, dude. Let's lock arms, man.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you? I want to make you healthy.
Let's be friends.
Yeah, like so that shop, man, everyone who came in there, I'm like, that's why, that shop has since closed, RIP, ZJ Boarding House and
DJ Boarding
and
House.
fuck Authentic Brands and all that. But yeah, it's look, man, again, life is so cool, dude. We have all been blessed, such a cool experience because we're living it. And even the ones that aren't that good, make it better, dude. Like where we live and how we live. It's,
yeah.
And it's like with all the nonsense going on, the politics, the Orange Godzilla, the this, the that. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you all?
Elon and Trump right now is crazy. I'm trying to take my.
Bro, I drove over here. I saw a guy in a fucking Tesla. And by the way, I love Teslas. I think Elon Musk is awesome. I think Donald Trump is the funniest, weirdest. Dude, we elected a reality billionaire, New York casino owner as president. And we are expecting him to act anything different, dude. It's blowing my mind.
It's crazy.
But
Orange Grill is funny.
But I drove over here and this poor guy's got his Tesla. And the fact that someone would like, look, I drive a BMW. So you want to talk about Nazis? Let's not go there.
Yeah.
This dude's got stickers. He had stickers, like 3 of them on every panel of the car saying what do you call it? It's like a lawn with the cross out. I'm like, what? But anyways, hey, that being said, man, we just all want to keep the vibe positive, and this has been so awesome having me on, and super, super stoked. But
we'll finish it up with what are you most excited for in your life right now, sir?
Gosh, this, man. Just being able to, it sounds corny, watching a guy like you who takes his enterprise and is growing it organically and where it's getting traction, where I'm at in my life, man. I'm just super, super excited. And I just I don't know, it's really cool. I'm excited for the next 5 years as I am the next 5 minutes.
I love that.
Yeah, I say this all the time. When do we heal or when do we become successful?
I think it's when you decide.
Yeah, and I'm in it now. To be honest with you, sure, we could always use more money. Sure, we could use this or that. Right? But frankly, no, I'm in it, man. And thanks for asking. It's cool. Dylan's in his good space. So
beautiful.
Thanks for having me on,
brother.
brother.
And where can everyone find you or decide to work with you or anything like that?
Yeah, it's matter of fact, if you any of you guys want to work with me, we will do brand builder on that and just put Nate Biltz. Just DM me if you want to work with me. I do everything from consultations to extensive 6-week deals. I can be reached at Physiologic, and that's FYSIOLOGIK, and that's
Dylan Farr, everybody.
Yeah, there he is.
Nice talking to you, sir.
All right, Nate. Much love, dude.
See you guys. Bye.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for tuning back into the Nate Biltz podcast. If you received any value out of this episode, please take the time to like and subscribe. My goal is to have conversations with the highest performers across entertainment, business, fitness, and art to inspire you and help you get better today. Pressing that like and subscribe button will help me do just that. Thank you, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Mr. Dylan Farr, and we will see you in the next one.